Donald Trump has floated the idea of a friendly takeover of Cuba. Now, I'm not exactly sure what a friendly takeover of Cuba would look like, but apparently it's going to mean a lot of cigars for everybody and a whole lot more vacations for people in Florida. Right now, the New York Times is reporting the birth rate is plunging, and of course, they have the anti-human idea that's a good thing, and I'm not sure exactly why. It doesn't make any sense to me, but the Sun is reporting that fly casual, major American airports are saying no more traveling in your pajamas. Personally, I think that's an okay idea, but I think there's some other people here that think it's a terrible idea. The U.S. Embassy in Israel is saying it's time to leave, and I don't really want to talk about Israel, but apparently we're going to. CNN staffers are freaking out because of the takeover by Warner Brothers and the owners of Warner Brothers. A lot of people on X are saying things like, oh no, Donald Trump controls all of the media, and all I have to say is, well, where were you when Barack Obama controlled everything? Or Barack Obama supporters, I guess is probably honest to say. The Guardian says CBS News, and that's the same one. Sorry. There's $900 million are missing from the solar program that were pumped into Democrat campaigns in California. This isn't a surprise to most people considering how corrupt California is. So we're going to talk about this and a bunch of other stories. But right now we have a message from our sponsor.
We got a great sponsor. It is Venice.ai. Sam Altman said ChatGPT will get to know you over your life. They got the former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now. Edward Snowden called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. Your Amazon device listens to you and recommends products based on your conversations. Meta retargets us based on our browsing and engagement history. I'm just going to add this as an aside. Facebook knows when you poop. It's not a joke. This is a well-reported thing going back like 8 or 10 years that they know when you're going to the bathroom and when you're going to buy lunch. Crazy. It took us far too long to understand what social media companies were doing with our data over the last decade, and we shouldn't make the same mistake again. Venice utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. No downloads, no installations or anything. Private and permissionless. They don't spy on you or censor the AI. Messages are encrypted, and your conversation history is stored only in your browser. AI can be extremely valuable, but we shouldn't need to give up our privacy to use it. If you get the Venice Pro plan, you unlock the full platform and features including PDF uploads for summaries or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, limitless text, and high image results. Go to venice.ai/Tim or use code Tim, and you'll get 20% off the Pro plan. So shout out to Venice for sponsoring the show. Check it out, guys. Venice.ai/Tim.
So smash the like button, share the show with all of your friends. Head on over to timcast.com where you can join our Discord so you can join us in the after show and call us. Call in, talk to our panel, ask us questions. You can talk about having babies because that's something that happens a lot. You can also go to rumble.com and join us there where you can watch the after show as opposed to just watching the Discord. But joining us tonight to talk about all these things is Priya Patel.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Priya Patel. I am a social media content creator and political commentator. You can basically find me on all the platforms aside from OnlyFans. Somebody asked me about that on a show recently, and I was like, no. If I have to clarify, well, certainly not on that platform. But yeah,
good idea.
Thanks for having me.
Brett's here.
What is going on, guys? Yes, it's weird being here on a Friday since normally I'm here on Thursdays these days. But if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on OnlyFans. No, not really. Pop Culture Crisis, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. But I'm excited to get into this. How you doing?
Slash is here.
Yep.
You guys want to rock? Will you start an OnlyFans?
No.
But it doesn't have to be sexual. It could just be like good content, like clips.
I don't know that I want to give that platform any money, to be honest with you.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, like at what cost, you know?
Yeah.
Rake it in at what cost? The cost of supporting some crazy organization you don't believe in?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more typical that people do like a Patreon or something of that sort rather than OnlyFans.
I think you're right. And I'm at Ian Crossland. You can find me at Ian Crossland on the internet. I also have Carter Banks.
Some things are just, they cost more than money. And I'm also at Carter Banks, and I'm here tonight to Produce the show as always, and let's take it away.
All right, so starting off tonight, from the Hill, Trump floats friendly takeover of Cuba. President Trump on Friday suggested the U.S. could carry out a friendly takeover of Cuba, as the president has used a fuel blockade to increase the pressure on the communist regime in Havana. The Cuban government is talking with us. They're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money, no anything right now, Trump told reporters. Maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba. Trump imposed a fuel blockade on the island in an executive order at the end of January in a push to collapse the regime, which relies heavily on energy and food imports. The United Nations top official for Cuba warned on Wednesday that daily life on the island is becoming fragile with increased strains on healthcare, water services, and food distribution. U.S. officials reportedly met Thursday with the grandson of 94-year-old former President Raul Castro, considered the de facto leader of the totalitarian regime, on the sidelines of a conference in the Caribbean attended by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has got to be excited about this. Mm-hmm. You know, with his Cuban heritage, he's had pretty critical words for Cuba. I think most presidents generally are fairly critical, except for maybe Barack Obama. But, you know, considering the history that the United States and Cuba has, what do you guys think the chances of Cuba becoming a territory are?
I think they're relatively high and growing. And I know a lot of Cubans are in large favor of this, whether they fled Cuba to come here or whether they're still in Cuba. I know that this is a very popular position among a lot of them. So
it's an interesting aspect of like the immigration debate, because we've talked pretty heavily about the idea of, you know, moratorium on immigration. We can't have, well, you know what I'm saying, right? But the people who still do hold that kind of overly romanticized idea of immigration to the United States, the Cuban immigrants are the ones that they hold that for, because so many of them risked so much to come here and, you know, kind of take in and really portray American values. But I somehow don't see this happening. But I'm also team nothing ever changes, so it's possible.
Would Cuba becoming a territory of the United States
that would be
count
something
as
changing.
change?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't sure how.
Do we have Greenland yet? You guys paid more attention to politics than me.
We don't have Greenland, but there is an agreement that is alleged to have been drawn up where the U.S. will have an increased military presence to defend against Russia, and the Golden Dome is going to happen. So I think the whole Greenland thing was like the big ask that Donald Trump does. We're just going to take the whole thing, and really what they wanted was to be able to have more influence on the things like the military situation, and there's a lot of natural resources there. They wanted companies to be able to get in there.
Yeah, the president does a lot of these, like, for lack of a better word, scare tactics, where he just kind of threatens something really, really big, but we actually want a diplomatic issue or diplomatic solution for these things. We don't want all-out war or anything of this sort. Like, we want something to come together relatively peaceful and, you know, something that benefits both sides.
So you think he's just looking to get McDonald's into Cuba?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, so what's the big ask here then? Is it just to get the Cuban cigars out and get them to?
I mean, look.
Or he wants all the cars.
You might want to the climate down there means that all those cars from the 50s are still in generally good condition. But I do think that Donald Trump would, if he could actually make it happen, I think he would like to see Cuba become a U.S. territory. I think he probably conceives of it as something like, well, we've got Puerto Rico as a U.S. territory. It's right in the same area. Yeah. Why not? Kind of a deal. And also the fact that the Cuban government has been so inept because of their socialist policies. Like, the Cuban people seem to be pretty interested in getting out of there, getting on a raft made of 2-liter bottles of Coke or whatever to go the 90 miles from Cuba to Miami.
Yeah.
It's the Castro regime really seized and stole that country for 60 years. And it sounds like, with Raul, did you say, was it 93 years old, Raul Castro?
No.
He's old.
I think so. Raul Castro's like
Fidel's brother.
94.
The late great Fidel Castro's brother is in charge. So I think
is crazy.
Just like, you want like great in scope, not necessarily in like ethics, but
sure.
Just like we want to take Greenland to secure the Northwest Passage, and we want Panama Canal to secure trade. We want Middle Eastern security to pass through the Suez. All these things. The Russians would. During the Cold War, that was where their nukes were in Cuba.
Right, yeah, I was just thinking that, yeah.
And so that's a huge liability if we do erupt into some global cataclysmic war. We need to secure Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba. All those islands, I think, should be American. It's a very hegemonic, aggressive way to look. But when we got Cuba freed from the Spanish Empire, late 1800s, 1898, I think it was the Spanish-American War. And after that, instead of taking Cuba, and we decided we're going to make Cuba a free state. They can do what they want. And then some communist dictator took it. So like, at some point, you kind of got to protect your own, your assets and your localities.
Maybe it's what I said before. Maybe he just really wants Pitbull to do the Super Bowl halftime show.
I back
I'm
it.
so here
And
for
if we're
it.
not, if we're gonna have an American do it, we're gonna have to take Cuba so that Pitbull can do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
It does make sense with the whole Monroe Doctrine, the focus on the Monroe
Yeah.
Doctrine. If you're unaware, the U.S. is kind of looking at Europe and the demographic changes over there, and they're saying in 30, 40 years, Europe's going to be a very different place because of the influx of migrants from the Middle East and North Africa, and they're not really even sure that they share the same values that they used to. There's a lot of the stuff that's going on with free speech over there. So the U.S. has decided they're going to focus more on South America and North America and kind of enforce the Monroe Doctrine. And I mean, this does fall kind of in line with that.
What I'm wondering is that. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, it's fine.
More. I almost want to call it a false flag when these Americans got killed by Cubans like 4 days ago or something. And I'm like overloaded with information with the news, so I didn't really look into it. I'm like, is this another false flag? A Bay of Pigs, the Bay of Pigs invasion? Where
Bay of Pigs wasn't a false flag. That was a failure.
They tried to get Kennedy to set up a false flag to get an invasion of Cuba in the 60s, and he wouldn't sign off on it. The Joint Chiefs wanted him. It was called Operation Northwoods. Yeah.
Okay.
And Kennedy refused.
That wasn't a false flag, though, was
They
it?
wanted him to stage a false flag where they would take, what was it, Americans, or take Cubans, dress them up as Americans, and then kill them. And they would be like, look, they attacked Americans. Kennedy wouldn't do it. So I'm like, that's where my head goes to when I hear about Cubans killed Americans. And now that all of a sudden 4 days later, like, yeah, we want Cuba. I'm like, bro, what are they doing? Are they psyoping? And I'm on Team America here, bro. I want to stabilize the region, unnecessary conflict, down with that. But
I mean, I'm pretty hardline about, Alberta can't become part of the United States. Totally. We don't want any more. We don't want voting from countries that are generally not conservative and not friendly to our system and stuff. I do think that Cubans probably would be better voters than
Actually,
than,
that's a great
than
point.
Quebecois.
Miami
Yeah, than
would
America's Equal
indicate
Top
that.
Hat. Yeah.
What?
Miami would indicate that, right?
Yeah,
The fact
exactly.
that
Right.
for the most part, I think though they did vote blue in their last mayor, but they flipped, right?
They flipped red in 2024, I believe, and then they voted a Democrat mayor into office this last November. But
Well, I mean, does that count as flipping back blue because they voted a Democrat mayor, or what's their vote, or what's their representative?
they had
in
a
Congress,
relatively conservative mayor prior to this, so I mean,
who it's Broward County?
yeah.
Is it? Is
No,
that- I don't know. I don't know who their representative in Congress is, though. Is what I'm saying. Because I think that kind of matters too.
I do think that it would usher in kind of because depending on how hardline you are on immigration, like I was saying earlier, if you're an American who's not necessarily in the space that we're in, where you talk about immigration the way we have, which is like caravans, what it's done to the economy, all of that. If you still have that kind of romanticized ideal, and we've been dealing with so many people coming here and hating to be here, flying the Mexican flag while protesting, last summer.
Yeah, and
so with that going on, they're protesting with Mexican flags to not be kicked out of America.
Yeah.
The idea of people who actually want to come here and want to share the same values that we do, that's going to be very inviting to a lot of Americans who also will be scared of being told that they're racist or they're sexist because they want to clamp down on immigration.
I got a lot of crap because I said Anna de Armas was a brown girl because she's Cuban, and there were a lot of people like she's white. So I'm not sure the racist thing would
You
stay.
point out, you say it doesn't matter. Like, I don't want somebody coming from Eastern Europe either at this point. Like, nobody should be coming in.
Honestly, I don't really want anybody coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm a hardcore immigration restrictionist, at least right now. Like
10 years.
we gotta
10-year moratorium so we can get off.
years.
Dude, we did this as recently as the 1950s.
40s, yeah.
Like, I don't understand why it's such a novel concept for most people. And this isn't to say that I hate all
Because
immigrants,
people have
obviously.
the brains of goldfish.
No,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's literally, well, I mean, it's partially that, but it's also the hatred of America. So you saw the video.
Yes.
You guys had to have talked about it the other day, but the lady who, her and her her partner fled to Canada, found out that the cost of living was too high.
Yeah, and she's
and
begging
then
for
said
Canadian money.
but we respect the immigration laws here completely. And I was like, look, this could be the one rare example where she's far left on literally everything except immigration, which would have been hilarious. But we can assume what her views are on immigration based on the rest of her beliefs. You can infer. And the idea that you would respect the Canadian immigration rules, but not hold the same truth for your own country is absurd.
But you can blatantly ask the large majority of liberals on the street, like, okay, if I were to go and move into Germany uninvited without proper documentation, should I be allowed to stay? And all of them will say no.
Only
They
with pepper
basically,
spray.
exactly. They basically confirm that you should abide by the laws of every other country when it comes to immigration, except for here.
That's also their own. That's their own weird white supremacy, where they believe that other people are somehow like inferior to us because of what we have as a country. So they would believe that because you're an American, that you have a privilege, so therefore you don't have the right to do that.
You have to
Somebody
extend
coming
that
from a poor nation does have that right because they're just higher on the oppression
Well,
scale.
they're coming here for a better life.
Yes.
Always. They're always seeking a better life, and we owe it to them as the most prosperous country in the world to just hand it to them. Even though pretty much for the rest of this country's history, we've had certain immigration laws and customs that we've required everyone to go through so that we retain that status.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
retain the quality of
like,
this
bro,
country.
I'm searching for a better life.
There's supposed to be certain criteria that you meet to be able to come to the United States and become a citizen. It shouldn't just be that you can get to a port of entry and I'm going to claim asylum. Well, you came through other countries to get here. You should be in the first safe country. And we used to have to be like, look, are you a communist? Do you have affiliation with communists? And look, man, I'm all for reinstating the Communist Control Act in 1953. I know there's a couple parts that the Supreme Court said were unconstitutional. They didn't say the whole thing was. So let's get on that, man, because we got problems here.
Well, but like also, look, we used to literally kick people out, even if they did come here legally. We used to kick them out of the country for not assimilating.
Yeah.
We wouldn't employ them, and then we'd kick them out. And honestly, we should get back to that because guess what? You shouldn't come here and bring your garbage third world culture and erode our culture because that's exactly what you fled from.
Preach.
Like, I just don't understand why this is such a novel concept for so many people.
Well, sorry, let me just ask this really quick. Puerto Ricans, can they freely travel through the United States?
They're an American territory, so yes.
Okay. So if we'd made Cuba a territory, you talk about immigration like it's just de facto immigration. You immigrate.
Well,
the
I don't
population of Cuba,
necessarily
basically.
know that we should make Cuba an American territory. Like, would I be in favor of doing something similar to what we just did in Venezuela? Maybe. But like, I think it's important that we secure the region, but I don't know that I want to just invite a whole new country of people to just come here freely.
We could just get rid of Puerto Rico and take Cuba.
I would actually be in favor of
swap.
that. I would
Swap,
trade.
yeah.
I would
There you
trade.
I want all the islands.
I want all the cigars.
Yeah, all that bananas they grow down there and sugar and whatever
plantains.
else. Yeah, the coffee. They can get coffee beans down
Cuban
there.
coffee's really good.
So are we thumbs up or thumbs down on Cuba?
Well, yes. I've been
thumbs
waiting
up.
for a
Thumbs up.
Relatively
Cuba to
thumbs
become
up.
American my whole life. I'm just
All right.
surprised it hasn't happened yet.
I'm
I'm wait for the Castros to die, I think.
I'm actually really interested in what process Donald Trump is thinking about. If he, because it's one thing for Donald Trump to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
But like how exactly is he? What does a friendly takeover look like? And obviously he didn't expand on it, so I don't think anyone really knows. It's just Donald Trump kind of bloviating. A
I
little
always
bit.
joke about this. I'm like, I think the president sometimes doesn't even know what he's thinking.
No, he has no idea what he's going to say.
But it always works out. I mean, as far as track records go, I trust him more than any president in my lifetime when it comes to foreign policy by a long, long shot. But I think sometimes the president says things and
He surprises himself.
He surprises himself.
He's like,
but
I never
pretty much
said that.
Always in a good way. And I'm like, I'm here for it.
He'll be like, oh,
I trust you relatively.
Yes, I did say that. Someone shows him the video. Like, oh,
Does he get back to
well, I was right.
Exactly.
Does he get back to Air Force One and ask like one of his staffers, like, could you figure out what a friendly takeover would look like so I can actually have the answer next time I have to...
Dude, Marco Rubio's sweating constantly. As soon as Donald Trump gets to the podium, Marco Rubio's just like, oh, God,
He's
I'm going to
be
get
like
another
the governor
job.
of Cuba.
Marco Rubio realizing he has to become Fidel Castro.
Yeah. At least he got a nice roll out.
I think a friendly takeover would be like a purchase. That would be a purchase, yeah? What other...
I mean, a friendly takeover kind of sounds like a polite theft. almost.
Well, I'm like, yeah, I don't.
I mean, even that's what a hostile takeover is in business.
I mean, you just open the doors of Guantanamo Bay and all the U.S. military just rolls out and says, okay, we're in charge now.
Well, see, what I think is going to happen, I think this is the president kind of teasing something. And then the next time it's talked about, or if tensions rise between us and Cuba, it's going to be like, oh no, we'll come kidnap your president like we did with Venezuela. Like,
It'll be
we'll
way
do
easier
that.
with Cuba than
Exactly.
with
But it's
Venezuela.
just going to like the message that the president is going to portray to Cuba is just going to ramp up. And then it's probably the actual solution is going to be somewhere in the middle, most likely.
Do you guys think that Trump is hoping that this kind of rhetoric would kind of get the Cuban people to apply pressure to the government? I'm not
Probably.
sure how much
Absolutely.
pressure they can put on the government. I don't know how heavy-handed the Cuban government is against the Cuban people, but like I imagine if they start to be like, hey,
Yeah.
It seems like a reverse big ask. This one, instead of being like, we're going to invade Greenland and we're going to take it, and then he scales it back. We're like, we just want bases. This one, he's like, hey, I just want to be friends. And then later he'll be like, come on, I offered you the peaceful way. Are you sure you're not going to take peace? So he's going
Exactly.
like the other angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I think the people.
Very out of
Well, I really do think the president plays 5D chess most of the time, like truly. I mean, when we look at especially a lot of the negotiations when it comes to like a lot of these foreign conflicts, it always ends up being perfectly fine. Like everyone that just fear mongers about the worst possible scenario, it never ends up being that way. And I'm not saying that like it couldn't happen, obviously. It very well could. We could fall into all-out war with some of these nations. But obviously,
Cuba?
well, not Cuba particularly, but just in the sense of, talking about a lot of these foreign policy issues, and there's a lot of excitement surrounding a good amount of them.
Okay,
You
that's
know.
a
Build a new
very
hotel.
gentle way to put it.
Yes.
Was
He
that?
wants to build a new hotel there,
Yeah,
like Maragaza, except for out in Cuba.
Maragaza.
closer to home that way.
Yeah.
It has been
I'd rather go to Cuba than
since the liberal economic order took over after World War II. They prevented total war. We haven't had World War III, and that's really promising that it will never happen again. Doesn't mean it can't.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
so limited conflict all over. Anyway,
What about that?
I'm effervescently concerned with shit spiraling into totalitarian, like
think
total
that-
war.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your concern, but with Cuba, they don't have the backing that they, this isn't the 60s.
There's no Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union. China's not interested. Russia has got their hands full
Castros
with
are
little
gone,
Russia.
basically.
Yeah, this isn't going to be like a missile crisis 2.0 by any
no,
means necessary. It's really just like essentially applying pressure to the government. Look, like you either fix things or we're going to come in and fix it for you, and that might look a little nicer depending on how compliant you are with us.
Yeah, you'll want to take our
offers.
our package. Yeah,
I think he
we
just
want
wants
to
to.
resign.
I think he wants Burger Kings. He wants to put McDonald's in there. What he wants.
Put McDonald's there, bring the cigars here.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the exchange we're looking
Real
for.
free trade.
It's free trade because Donald Trump's threatening with a military invasion. Let McDonald's in. Let
no.
McDonald's in.
A friendly
All right.
invasion, a gentle, nice invasion.
Like the
All
British
right.
invasion.
We're going to jump to this story here from the New York Times. The birth rate is plunging. Why some say that's a good thing because they're anti-human. The political class is worried about the historic drop, but the biggest change is among the youngest women who are the least ready to have children. We can blame it on the girls. That's fine with me. The U.S. birth rate is declining. Rose Paz's choices help explain why. Ms. Paz, 22, grew up in Salt Lake City, the eldest of 3 children, born when her mother, an immigrant from Mexico, was 16. Her parents, a waitress and a cook, worked a lot, leaving her responsible for her younger siblings. She remembers having to skip sleepovers and birthday parties to care for them. Ms. Paz is studying for a bachelor's degree in marketing. She has a serious boyfriend, but does not want to have children now. I want to be financially stable and in a place I can call my own, she said. I saw my parents get stressed over money, and I don't want my kid to experience that. Not so long ago, women like Miss Paz in their early 20s from backgrounds that are far from privileged would have been among the most likely to have children. Now this group is a key contributor to the country's declining birth rate, which is at an all-time low, down by over 25% since 2007, the year the fall began. Priya, do you have kids?
I don't. I would love to have.
Shame on you.
I don't.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Why don't you have children?
I haven't found my husband yet.
There you
But
go.
once I do, we'll get right on it. Don't you worry.
So, do you, like the way that they frame this as young women are deciding not to, that's strictly because of birth control and because of abortion.
No, I wouldn't say strictly, but those definitely
Largely?
I think they all play into each other. Like those with the overarching idea or ideology behind feminism is largely a key factor in that. I think that forcing women into the workforce was essentially the start of this downfall. Yeah.
There's also a nihilistic view of the way the American economy is right now.
Yeah.
And that you can't say that's not a part of it because that's affecting the men too, especially men who are still trying to hold on to the idea that they're going to have to be a provider, even if both of them are going to be working, which is what most relationships are these days. Somebody's going to have to be the main provider in that family. And there's a lot of nihilism around the idea that you're not going to own a home. Who wants to raise a child if you don't actually own a home to live in? Do you want to raise your kid in an apartment? Do you want to own a home as a renter where the rent can be jacked up at any point in time and they can evict you pretty easily? Well, these days not really with squatters rules and such like that. But the point is like it's putting the blame. I did like the part where she's like, it kind of made her seem like unserious. Like she had to skip sleepovers to like make sure her brothers and sisters don't die.
Yeah,
like,
cry me a river.
But that is, I mean, that's an ode to American narcissism. That can be men or women. But in this case, they're framing it as a problem unique to women.
The piece goes on. It says, the decline has prompted hand-wringing among portions of the political class, with some conservatives calling it the triumph of selfishness over sacrifice. A report last month by the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank titled Saving America by Saving the Family, warned that when a nation fails to preserve the family, the state soon fails to preserve itself. Good Lord, I can't read tonight. And I think that actually is an important point, right? Like, your society is made up of the people. And if you're not making more people, then you're actually allowing your society to age, decay, and you lose that vigor that comes from young people. You lose a lot of the industriousness that comes from young people. Old people or older people tend to be kind of stuck in their ways. Young people tend to be the ones that are looking to try new things. And if you don't have that vitality in your society ends up turning into, it loses that kind of edge, especially in a time where things are changing so fast.
Yeah, well, look, I think that the big problem here is you're exactly right. I mean, when people are super nihilistic when it comes to the country and the future of the country, they're less inclined to have children, yes, but the problem is that every single aspect of society and the government is literally rigged against the people, but specifically my generation. Like, it's the job scarcity is a real thing. Affordability is a real thing. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, and it's incredibly unobtainable to even think about owning a home. I mean, the median house price in California, not just Los Angeles, California, is like $997,000. So
I've got a friend that lives in Lakewood, and he's got a small house. It's not some big thing, but it does have an upstairs, and it's over $1 million for his home.
Yeah, well, and look, California is not a representation of the rest of the country. Obviously, we're seeing that a lot in the affordability, gas prices, things like that. It's very much on the state and local level in that sense. But I mean, it really is. But wages reflect how the location looks, and I mean, our wages are incredibly high compared to most of the country in California. But that's not reflected in how people can't find homes. Like, I mean, there's so many things that have contributed to these issues, but virtually every aspect of society is just rigged against people being able to own their lives. Like, we're all kind of slaves to debt at this point because we don't own anything. Why would I ever think long term if I don't have anything for myself? I think that's the biggest issue with people of my generation. They have no stake in the game.
So this is a bit of a sidetrack, but do you think that the Trump savings plans for babies that are born, right? The goal of that is to give
Totally.
kids, when you're 18, they have a stake because they own something.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to be something that younger generations are going to, do you think they'll, because I understand your point about Gen Z, they don't own anything, so they don't feel, and this goes to the talk about socialism and capitalism.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they don't feel like they own any property, so why do they care about property rights or things like that? Whereas if you have a bank account that has money in it, that when you turn 18, you
have
can
assets
actually do
and
something
things like that. Yeah.
Do you think that's something that is going to actually affect the opinions of the young, like, people being born now?
Yeah, I do think it will. And I think it's going to affect people of my generation thinking about having kids now, because people that do have that mindset maybe are a little bit more optimistic. If, if my kid is born between between 2025 and 2028, or it was 2025 and 2028, that they're going to have X amount in a bank the second that they turn 18, even if I don't put a cent into it.
Yep.
That's very hopeful for people when a lot of it is that reasoning. Like, I'm setting my kid up for a worse life than I currently have, because prior generations, you work essentially to make your kids have a better life than you do. But that's becoming not impossible, but that's becoming harder and harder. We're seeing a little bit of that change with this new administration, but like prior, it's just been getting worse. The outcome just looks even more bleak. So I do think that is a massive factor. And I mean, for me, I don't have kids and I'm not married, but I've said, I'm like, I really want to have kids during this administration, like simply for that,
Yeah.
I do believe that marriage, isn't the divorce rate declining slightly because people that are getting married are getting married later, and they're being choosier about who they actually settle down with. Like my generation, the millennials, were the product of your parents got divorced, and that was kind of the song of that entire time period, right?
Yep.
It was the
Latchkey
romanticization of divorce and how you get through that. So the way that it's kind of peaked into nihilism isn't surprising to me in any way, shape, or form. And me and you have talked about this on the show before. I said, look, they're not going to go to capitalism, at least not in my opinion. They will go to ask the government for help, because life has become too difficult to figure out for most people anyways these days. Have you seen the things where it's like you go to apply for a job at a gas station, you have to do like a personality survey,
Really?
and stuff like that. It's like it is unbelievably difficult just to do the base level things to survive now. So they're nihilistic in the extreme in a lot of ways, and they're attached to social media, which is giving them the worst that humanity has to offer day in and day out. And I don't necessarily agree with the idea that you should fall into that type of nihilistic view of the future. If anything, being here or working here has kind of shown me what the other side of that coin is. And I was never a nihilistic person, but I get like our influences here aren't the norm. Like the conservative influences aren't the majority of the country necessarily,
Sure.
maybe half, whatever. But there's still a lot of influence from the rest of the culture that tells them don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think that I agree with you, but I think there is a clear split between the sexes in my generation. You're seeing young men go really, really hard to the right, and young women go really, really hard to the left. And this is a trend that's been happening for a long time, but it's culturally, because again, like each side perceives the other side as rejecting them, but they're also splitting up for economic reasons. For the same reason, they're just going different directions. Like young men are going to like hardcore on free market capitalism a lot of the times, and then young women are really going hardcore towards socialism.
Well, the women
it's for the exact same reason. It's just different goals and outcomes.
I think you mentioned it, but feminism has a lot to do with
Massively.
it.
Yeah.
The idea that that women should not aspire to be mothers,
Yeah.
that women should not aspire to have a family.
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, the fact that it takes dual income to just make ends meet now, like that's definitely true. But we got to this, or part of the reason we got to this point was because society has been telling young women that either you can have everything, you can do both of them, or you shouldn't even want to. I think Murphy Brown in the 90s, when she was like, a CEO and had a kid, and it was like, oh, well, I can do whatever. I can do all of it. And you know what? You can't do all of it.
And that's exactly, there are people that are capable of doing all of it, but everyone thinks they're the exception. That's the problem.
They're not capable of doing it. They have someone else raising the kid.
That is true.
They have
That is
care.
true.
You've got
Yeah.
your kid in daycare all day, and a mother should be with the kid as
agree.
much as possible.
I agree.
So the idea that they can do it all, no, you can't.
Well, but-
You hire someone to do it for you.
It depends on what your idea of do it all obviously is. But if you want to be the boss babe CEO of a company and then have 4 kids, you're never going to be able to
someone
do
else
that.
is gonna raise it.
Exactly. Somebody or largely you're going to be outsourcing things on a massive scale.
Yeah.
But the problem is is that everyone has this like dream idealistic situation for their home life or their family life or how they want to raise their kids. And most of the time it's really unobtainable, especially now in today's society with, again, like costs of everything and, you know, just cultural norms at this point. But really feminism largely, but a lot of the other aspects of society, when we look at the economy, everything's just rigged against the nuclear family. It's the whole goal of all of this. I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like the whole goal of basically everything from, I mean, the last 178 years since like the birth of feminism basically has been to rig people against having the conventional nuclear family.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to get back into the socialism, conversation, but that is the whole point.
Yes.
One of the tenets of Marxism was to destroy the nuclear family and get rid of that, because the things that make people not want to be obedient to the state is a good family,
Absolutely.
you know, community.
And if they're both working, it doubles the amount of money the government can get. Also, there's
amount of tax the government can get.
There's a messaging issue on the right too, because a lot of times people will call into question. They're like, look, it will be women on the right that are talking about the nuclear family and doing all of these things, and they're like, well, you're working at a big media company.
Yeah.
You're Megyn Kelly. You're like, are you doing everything, or is somebody helping you do it? And you know, unless you're already enamored with right wing politics, where you're willing to look over that and kind of not really take it for what it is. But if you're somebody who's a lefty, or you're more, I guess, undecided, you're like, really? Like, that job looks like you can be at the office a lot. Like, it rings untrue, I think.
But I think a lot of the times, and not so much the Megyn Kellys, but a lot of the newer social media influencers kind of in my like basket of things in the industry, they like wholeheartedly reject women working while at the same time having a social media job or something of that sort. And it's like, well, you're just a hypocrite if you're telling me that I should be the most trad wife in the world, and maybe you placate like that on the internet, but you're clearly not. You're clearly working. You're clearly, I mean, as much as people hate it, like a lot of these women, they dress up for men on the internet. Like, they're not, like, you might be wearing somewhat trad looking clothing, but it's really not.
It's a costume.
Like, it's
weird,
it's cosplay, and you're basically putting on the internet the message that men want to hear a lot of the times, and you're selling yourself in one way or the other on the internet.
It's so annoying when people wear costumes. Can't stand that fake shit. Right to the person.
Wait, what message are you trying to convey?
Yeah,
Exactly.
let's
It's
hear it.
like, that's what I want to know.
He wants people to know that he wants to take them down to the Paradise City
Yes.
where
Yeah.
the grass
Or-
is green and the girls are pretty.
So, okay, I think they said that you want to leave the world better for your children than it was for your grandparents. You know, like the world, it gets better every
Of
generation.
course, like, yeah, you want to make your kid's life better than yours.
Until
No,
World War One.
Boomers do. That's what people.
that-
Their
I was
argument is that
thinking
the
that.
Well, the
boomers
boomers
don't want
are the
to.
ones that
The
screwed my
boomers are like,
generation
sucks
over,
to be
so.
you. Like, you're gonna have to pull yourself up by the
Yeah,
bootstraps.
but they're the ones that screwed everything over for us.
I
yeah.
like the philosophy, and it's a good thing to aim at. But like World War One, it got way worse for that generation than the generation before. Like they had probably the worst of anybody in the last few hundred years, maybe one of the worst industrial slaughter of humankind. And the men coming back shell shocked and unable to stand up straight from their trench foot warfare. Okay, anyway, Hitler's a result of that. That you get people like that come out of that. And then after that, the next generation, World War II, they probably were a little bit better off than the silent generation. The World War I trench warfare was the most grotesque abuse.
Sure.
So ever since then, it's gotten better every generation until maybe people are saying this generation is the first time when things are starting to fall off.
Well, yeah, obviously all of this is going to be in a somewhat way idealistic, but it's more on a practical sense. Like, sure, yes, there could be some worldwide event that really screws everybody over. That's kind of something that you can't really account for on that level. But like, I think the basic principle of this is that I don't want to raise my kids while I'm in debt and poverty, and I don't want to die and leave my kids with $1 million of debt because I tried to provide them a good life and I wasn't able to.
Do you think there's like an actual, you brought up conspiracies earlier, and I wonder about like, what are these people, World Economic Forum, they say you want to live in the pod and eat bugs and be happy. Like, are they literally trying to destroy families, put your body in a vat, we'll extract the semen in the egg, we'll find which one of you has the best genetics and extract that,
Peter Thiel's of the world, maybe.
and then make the best humans.
Oopsies.
So it's under
Did I hit on
control.
something?
So it's because otherwise you've got these rogue individuals getting married and having guns and protecting their borders, and like how can you make sure they don't go crazy and start a world war if they have their own property and families and things.
Well, the population's not the ones that start the war. That's the governments that
The Soviets, like Lenin was he was like the population can rise up and cause a.
So that's a revolution, though. That's not a world war. I mean, you mentioned a world war.
No, but it's just like the danger of a population like getting unruly. I think that's part of why weed got made illegal, because it makes people question authority, and that.
But they're relaxing marijuana laws.
Thank God. But I think that's why they. Why
I saw all of us.
I for one am shocked.
But that's like Nixon used it as a weapon to like create order, like tamp down on the hippies and the Black Panthers. They're creating too much of, murmur that there might be a revolt. They could have, who knows?
They were communists.
Yeah.
He was right. They were all communists.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Black Panthers definitely were, and a lot of the hippies. The hippies that went to communes.
They're all communists.
They were communists.
I know, but you said they were all communists. It's not true. They were using that to stop a potential revolution. Like the Vietnam War was so bad.
It would have been a
people were ready
revolution, Ian.
It could have been, yeah. It could have got turned into that.
Because they were communists.
But regardless of their ethos, people that are smoking pot and having families don't give a fuck about your government. Like they are very much. I am the government. You understand? We the people control our reality together, and when you take those things away from people,
the idealistic version of communism.
No, I don't think. Well, maybe that's what we got going on right now. The reality of like we the people control our government.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, we the people vote in elected representatives, but the idea that we are all the government is pretty.
I mean, our system is like specifically not a direct democracy because we are not the government.
Oh, we are the government. We the people control this country. That's why we select people to go represent us in the moment, and they'll be gone soon.
That's
correct,
the point.
but there's a reason that we don't have a direct democracy.
We were talking about this yesterday. When was the last time they got anything done anyways? Congress can't get anything done.
They got a dog show the other day as opposed to voting on the SAVE Act. But I think, look, to your point, right? The SAVE Act has or at least voter ID has something like 85% approval among the American people, right? Like everybody thinks that there should be, that you should have to have an ID. That's something that if the American people really were in control the way that you say, then that should be a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah, the government been co-opted, sorry to interrupt, by banks. And yeah, for sure. There's the liberal economic order is a banking cartel, basically.
But you were just saying that we are the government. And the point that I'm making is if it was really like that, if it was really the way that you laid it out earlier, then it would be a no-brainer that this would get passed very easily.
I will never not say that we are not. I will always say we are the government. Even if they have their boot on my neck, even if they have a gun to my head and a boot on my neck, I will still claim that we are the government of this country. And that's how it's always going to be. That's the point of this country. You might want to change what the country is for a moment and pretend like you're in control, or that you're the government and I'm not, but welcome to the United States. I'm the government too.
Well, I agree with, or I understand your framing in the sense of you're going to die on the hill, but we are the government in the United States. I mean, we're not the government. We elect people to represent us in the government. But
in this version, do I get a pension?
No,
because that would be cool.
No, some boomer's going to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna live forever too.
That's why that's why we're never going to see a dime of Social Security.
The thing is, it's crazy because it kind of is impossible to have kids right now and not have you and your wife both working full time.
I mean, it's
unless you have an insane job,
right? But that was the goal in my parents' generation. It's kind of unrealistic now.
Well, you just had a kid.
Yes. And we both work.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it. Hannah.
Full time, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just had a kid too, and my girlfriend stays home and takes care of the stuff. But I mean, I'm the exception to the rule apparently. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I do think that the problems that Gen Z is facing are largely creations of the not just the government, but of also the boomers, the boomers that own multiple homes and everyone looking at their house as their biggest investment, and that's going to make them $1 million or whatever.
I don't blame them too much because they didn't know. They got snowed, man. This order really tricked and hoodwinked the Americans to think it's normal to have $1.75 gallon gas. It's normal to have all these foods from all over but man, in the background, they're taking over countries and overthrowing governments.
After 2008, when the government government just started printing money like mad.
Yeah,
and people
bingo.
were taking loans out at 0% interest and buying stocks. With the reason that we have, like, people talk about income inequality is so terrible right now, and it is really, really bad. A big part of the reason is because after 2008, when the government brought interest rates down to zero and kept them at zero for 10 years, people that had money, people that had assets would take loans out with their assets as the collateral. They would take a loan out at like 1 or 2% or whatever. They'd put that money in the stock market, and as the stock market goes up by 10, 15% a year, they're making that money. So they were literally getting money for almost free, putting that money in the stock market just for it to grow. So people that had assets and have wealth and stuff like that, they had a huge advantage. And it's because the government decided that they were going to have that policy. And every time the government talked about raising interest rates, the stock market would take a tumble a bit, and then the government would get, oh no, we can't do that, blah, 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 blah. I think that like interest rates were zero or around zero for almost a decade. Quantitative easing was the worst policy they ever had. They should have let the banks fail. There's my little
Yeah,
podium
well, and like the other thing is that, I mean, even though we have a massive affordability crisis and all these things, like obtaining wealth in this country is perceivably very hard, but it's actually easier to obtain wealth in this country than any other country in the world. We're just not taught how to. Like the financial illiteracy in this country is beyond ridiculous for how sophisticated of a society we are.
Klarna for your burrito.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like
Exactly.
Everyone told me about
That's
Klarna.
exactly right. It's like we're literally taught to take on debt, but not how to take on debt. Like that's the problem.
there's this thing, opportunity cost in economics, which is fascinating. Like, okay, I'll go make $1,000 doing this job, but if I have to turn down $1 million project, then I'm actually going to lose $990,000 doing this work because the cost of opportunity is lost. And with oh, that's all I got. I have more. I'll remember it.
Let's address the fact that no article that ends with "and this is why it could be a good thing" has ever been good in the history of
No articles.
I remember
No article that starts with "from the New York Times."
Well, no,
That too.
maybe there's one good one, but nothing that ends with "and here's why that's a good thing" is ever good.
I mean, they're telling you right off the
Yeah.
bat what you're supposed to think. They're poisoning.
Here's this thing that's clearly bad. Here's why it might not.
I remember my point. Financial literacy, like, I was picturing my parents being like, well, did you go return that thing for $20 to Amazon? Did you go spend an hour of your day to go return that item? I'm like, well, I could have, if you understand economics, I can make $900 in that time period and just eat the $30 loss. And that's the opportunity cost of like how you really make money in reality. Don't chase these $20, $30 penny pinch. Like, it's so distracting, it requires so much energy when there is other ways to accrue massive amounts of wealth in the background.
Well,
write a
like
book.
penny wise and pound foolish, I think, is like a term for that.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if you look at all the not all, but if you look at most people that have a lot of money, they're pinching their pennies all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not gonna.
They don't let go of them. That's the difference, is that you're wasting time like funneling money back and forth when you legitimately should be kind of penny pinching, when you should be on a budget. You're like, oh, I need to return that thing for $10 at Target or whatever. And that's going to take an hour or whatever of my time. But people that have wealth don't even let go of that wealth for little...
Yeah, I don't need to spend the money on that.
Exactly. Little dumb things at Target anyways.
Do I
They
really
already
need that? You know?
Yep.
It was the cane, by the way, is what I was going to return. I don't know.
I'm glad that you didn't, honestly.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You've been using it to like stretch your back and everything.
Oh, yeah, it's really good. On the back of the
Yeah.
neck, you can roll the spine with it. Oh, God.
All right, we're
purpose.
gonna jump to this story here. From the U.S. Sun. Fly casual, major American airport bans passengers from wearing everyday outfit. We've had enough. And it's not everyday outfit. It's literally pajamas. Like, it's the same stuff that people just mope around their house in.
Yeah,
Unless they are giving me the absolute best flight experience in human history, the audacity of this
man.
company to do this is shocking.
What
I
do
was
you-
always told you shouldn't wear pajamas on a plane.
No, you shouldn't.
Dress to the nines.
You shouldn't wear pajamas on a plane, but flying shouldn't be a horrible experience, yet it is.
No, I agree, but if you look at like dudes that like wear tracksuits, right? Like
Matching tracksuits.
they're not
Bright orange ones.
they're not the best attire, but usually they look clean, they look kind of put together and stuff like that. You can wear comfortable clothes and not look like people in this picture here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Come on.
This is the free market. They're paying the money. Let them decide
is.
where they're going to spend their money.
So from the U.S. Sun, travelers are now banned from wearing pajamas at Tampa International Airport in Florida, according to the latest social media post from the hub. The Expo shared a graphic that plainly states it's time to ban pajamas at Tampa International Airport. The post references the airport's previous successful banning of Crocs, while calling people.
Amen to that. Honestly,
Yeah,
we
wear
should have a
Crocs.
nationwide ban on Crocs.
You should. I wear Crocs
They are
at the
comfortable.
house.
There's nothing wrong with Crocs. Don't let
that's a big
anybody
thing.
tell you otherwise.
Look, everyone knows the story about Crocs, right? The Idiocracy story.
No.
Actually, no.
Are you familiar with the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they were making that movie, they were looking for shoes to have the people walking around wear, and they were like, they have to be ridiculous. And so the set designer, the wardrobe designer, found these shoes, and they looked ridiculous. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to use these. And they're like, well, it's a small company. What if they become popular in the future? And like the director was like, are you kidding? Look at these things. Those were Crocs. If you watch Idiocracy, everybody's wearing Crocs, and now it's happened in reality.
It's the official shoe of the men and women saving your life at the hospital, okay? So,
It actually is.
gosh.
I look, like I said, I own.
Are
two
they
pair.
really saving your life, though?
I mean, maybe.
Guns
If
don't
they're
kill
doing
people.
CPR, you know.
It's the
What?
Guns don't kill people. Crocs don't save people. It's the people save people.
Yeah, it did.
Just wearing the Crocs.
But I'm of two minds, right? Like, I don't fly wearing pajamas, right? I don't get dressed up in a suit, but I don't wear what?
The argument for men is like you shouldn't wear pajamas just because you're going to get pickpocketed if you've got your wallet in your pocket.
Yeah,
Wear something that you can actually like conceal.
I just like getting through security quickly.
So I started wearing.
I mean,
fanny
look, you can
packs.
wear. It's fine to wear Vans. Vans are slip-on and stuff like that. You
Sure.
can get away with that. But I wear jeans. Like, I basically wear the same stuff that I wear all the time. But I totally understand. Like, unless you're doing like a long international flight. You know, if you're going, like, you're flying to Hawaii, I can understand like wearing something a little more comfortable or whatever. But for the most part, do you need to wear pajamas? And I understand your argument about, the seats are not comfortable. You
Service
don't have
is
very
awful.
much. Your service is
You
bad.
used to get a meal with your flight. You don't get the meal anymore.
Well, that depends on the flight. If you're on an international flight or if you're on a long flight.
Oh, so as long as you get the meal, then you can wear pajamas, or
Well,
if you
look,
get the
man,
meal.
I mean, look. If you're going from Boston to Orlando, do you really need to be like, oh man, I got to make sure that I
Like, this
wear?
is just such a hassle. to
Come
me.
on.
Service for almost every aspect of American culture has got nothing but worse over the last 10
I
years.
agree with
But
that.
flights are way
Idea
cheaper
that
now
they're
than they
going
ever
to
have
put-
been.
No, they're not.
What?
They got
You can
internet
fly
on
for like
airplanes.
$300-$400, $500 for like a. You can probably fly from Boston down to Orlando for like $400.
Your $72 peanuts that you have to buy
or if
from
you
the
fly
Hudson
like
Hawk.
three
No, this
different
is-
like connecting flights.
You just got to hack it. You got to bring your own food. That's why a fanny pack. Bring some meat sticks, and then they get free internet. Only drink water. Don't drink any of that garbage they hand you, because then you're more exhausted when you get off the plane. Don't eat the paper.
Never drink the coffee on a plane
Oh, why not?
because they're using it from the tanks that they never clean.
Damn.
Those water
will
tanks.
get it.
they-
Okay, so you want me to drink coffee from a tank that's never cleaned, and I'm the one who needs to dress
specifically
up.
told you never to drink
But the
coffee.
thing is, they're offering it. So they're offering me coffee from a tank that's never cleaned, and I'm supposed to dress up.
This is my
I'd not
question.
dress up. Just wear normal clothes.
Just wear normal clothes. You wear what you have on right now.
Do you wear pajamas?
Which looks good, by the way.
I just dress like this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
But
saying.
I don't begrudge them. They're fine.
I do begrudge them. They look homeless.
That's my question. Is this more about don't be slovenly, or is it
Yeah.
don't wear those plaid pants?
Yeah, because look again.
I
Look
have
at
some
the
nice
picture.
pants.
Like,
Look at the picture. Like
look-
They didn't
those
even take a
people
shower.
and they
look
need to
like
meet us halfway.
Look normal for polite society. Like, you wouldn't go to the store. Well, I mean, some bums probably would, but they should be ostracized for doing so.
Don't look like
a
you're
bum.
going to Walmart.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
honestly.
look, there is a certain like methadone clinic chic that I see. You know what?
Methadone
You know, the flying is not much better. So you know what? I say that they're wrong. You can wear whatever you want because the airlines are garbage.
You're traveling through the air at 500 miles an hour. There is
The
a
thought
certain
of that is like a luxurious
it-
experience in and of itself.
exactly.
But-
Yeah. Like nah. I mean, I think this is all right. I think
I'm
it's
gonna try
okay.
and test it when next time I'm in Tampa. I'm gonna wear my plaid pajama pants, but I'm just gonna make it look real nice. You won't even know. I'll be like, oh, that guy's got
Iron them.
The thing is,
You
for
gonna iron
you,
them?
you do that
iron
like as a suit, kind of sometimes. You used to come on the show in pajamas because that was
they
like
were-
your thing.
And then Tim's mom was
Yes,
like,
'cause he just
I was
woke up.
there.
Pants?
she came to you and was like, "Why is
She told him, and then he told me.
He was
My
like,
mom wants you to
you're
wear
an
real
it was
pants.
like you're an adult.
Here's
Wear
my
some
theory.
jeans.
My theory
Based,
was,
honestly.
who cares what people wear? That was my idea. And
I do.
Well, okay.
It's the same reason I don't really like. Look, I don't want to see fat people walking around all the time.
Amen.
Like, I don't want to see people looking
Aspirational,
homeless.
Brett.
Sharia shit.
Bring back aspiration.
Well, like I
But
said,
no,
when they're
it's not-
aspirational too.
It's not Sharia. It's having norms for polite society. That's what it is.
Here's my thought process. I brought it up. That why I don't. Who cares what people wear? And I was like, well, if I really don't care what people wear, then why don't I just wear what they're asking me to wear? So I use my own logic to then wear
Against
jeans.
you.
I
Debunk
was
yourself,
like,
yeah.
against myself.
Yeah.
No, but legitimately, like there should be a certain standard for polite society.
Well,
Yes.
okay, men
to
didn't
wear.
used to be able to be shirtless until the 20s, 1920s. Free the nip, you know. So should women be able to go shirtless now?
No, but I also don't.
We're the ones that are arguing, or at least Priya and I are the ones that are arguing for standards, not against standards.
Yeah, I don't
My
think
point
that
is
men
not
should
that
walk
standards
around
are a bad
shirtless.
thing. I think standards are a good thing. I'm saying that they should be held to standards too. And if they're not going to meet us at the same level, then
They
no
are.
go.
You don't. The planes don't crash.
Okay, then what about
know?
bikini bottoms?
That's
with that
that's literally
string?
the bare minimum.
I'm
the
against
bare
that,
minimum
too.
is that the flight doesn't fall out of the air. It doesn't matter. My wife hates flying anyways. We drive everywhere.
I don't think any of us love commercial flying. It is an unpleasant experience, although the fact that we're able to get into we're able to transport ourselves, going 500 miles an hour through the air is actually an incredible thing to think about in and of itself. Obviously, I mean, the large majority of the world doesn't have access to this type of thing.
And to be honest with you, market pressures are what have made flights the way they are.
Yeah.
People want to fly for the smallest amount of money possible. And to be honest with you, I know that they're not. Maybe flights aren't the cheapest they've ever been, but I remember a time, because I'm old, when it was like every flight was like $900, and this is $900 in 1910 money. You know, so like it used to be way more money
You
when
mean 2010, right? You said 1910.
I was making a joke about how old I am, because I'm old.
I didn't get the joke. I'm the idiot.
Sorry. But yeah, like it used to be like back when they had, when you could smoke on planes, like they were really expensive. It was really expensive to fly. You did have more room, but the reason that they've constricted the stuff or limited the things that they give you is because of the price. If you want to fly for $1,500 or $2,000, you can sit in first class and you'll get a meal. You'll have more room. I understand that it's expensive, but the thing is, nowadays coach flights are actually pretty reasonable.
Did you see the article the other day about she's like she was a former Vogue editor, I think, who's like the stylist for Zoran Mamdani, who like left first class for business because they said that the flight attendant was microaggressing her.
I will
tiring.
volunteer as tribute to swap seats with her.
No.
Like, what the hell? People are so weird.
Something I do on airplanes, just letting everybody know out there, when you see me at the airport, get ready for this. I'll get on the plane, I'll sit in my seat, and then I'll when everyone's boarded, I'll look around for like an empty aisle, because sometimes there are. I'll just get up and go sit in the 3-seat aisle.
Yeah.
No one's ever bothered me. No one cares.
Well, if the seats
they
are
know.
open,
Well,
they
if it's
kind of
open,
don't.
nobody cares.
Normally, like
Okay, anyway, this story is awesome. How far is too far with violating these social norms? Because it used to be men literally could not go outside in public with their shirts off, and that was normal. And now it's normal that they can, and it would be, in my opinion, crazy
Well, I
to
mean,
make
look,
them shirt
if you have your shirt off and you're walking around the mall, that's weird.
Yeah. Or like you're going into establishments. Yeah, I don't think you should be able to do that.
No shirts, no shoes, no service.
Yeah. I think most places do still abide by that. I think unless you're maybe at like in a beach town, they're probably going to be like, dude, put a shirt on.
So it's like up to the private establishment what their dress code is, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there should be a general sense of what you should do in polite society, not simply just in private establishments. But yeah, ultimately.
Do you think bikini bottoms, like those dental floss strings up the ass, they're too like just basically public nudity? Because
Yes.
You don't wear them again. You don't wear them at the mall. If you're like on a beach in Florida and you want to wear a string bikini, that's something that's it's personal preference. But again, it kind of depends on the beach. But also because if you're in New England, if you're at like Musquamacket or whatever up there, you're not going to see a lot of people rolling around with string bikinis. But if you're down in Fort Lauderdale, that's normal.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on the context.
want a tan ass. I get it. Like you want the full,
I mean, I would advise against it, but yeah.
full ass tan? Or just those bikini string bottoms?
The like G-string.
I saw it when I was like 12, and I thought it was porn. It looked like porn. I was like,
It does look like it. Basically, is porn.
I mean, like, also, it's like you go to the airport, you're going to get either groped or have a photo taken of you where they're, basically looking at your insides. People feel violated. You have to take your shoes off, though. I think they've removed that restriction.
Yeah.
But the point being, like, you're like, look, I have to go through all this and dress up? No, thank you.
Well, no, okay. I mean, I argue that we should get back to a point in society where we do dress up for these types of occasions. However, this isn't arguing for you dressing up. It's just arguing for you wearing what you're wearing now. You're wearing wet joggers or black denim and a t-shirt and tennis shoes.
The other side of this is like, for like going out in public, right? Like it definitely is true. Like you go out to a store and it does seem like nobody's trying anymore. It's like, does nobody even like, and that's more, we could take that back to like the birth crisis discussion where it's like, is nobody even signaling to the world that they're like, that they take care of themselves well enough to want to actually get together with somebody and maybe start a life together. But I'm speaking purely from like an angry standpoint. I'm
You're
against
just revolting
the airlines.
against the airlines.
when I lived in LA, I was an actor in LA, and I stopped wanting to present myself as beautiful because it felt so fake. I was like, I just would dress the garbage.
But it's not even doing anything to the extent that you need to present yourself as beautiful, but like just bare minimum aesthetically pleasing. Like take a shower and put normal clothes on.
There was a time.
Don't wear sweatpants and pajamas to go to the grocery store.
It was like a revolt against make people wanting me to look beautiful all the time, and I wonder if social media is making people revolt in their private lives.
Probably.
Now this is not. I don't think this is because of social media.
No,
I think social media makes people want to fake what they look like, and they want to compete with the people that they see on Instagram and stuff like that.
CEOs wear jeans and a t-shirt. Why can't I?
It is actually true that most of the CEOs. There was this photo of like the Netflix CEOs touring the Warner Brothers lot, and they're so badly dressed. It's kind of awesome. They're
lot of that,
wearing like the faded blue jeans and the jacket.
Yeah, they probably paid $300 for those faded blue jeans. But the fact remains, like people that are wealthy nowadays, because it's so kind of in vogue to hide your wealth for a lot of people, particularly people that are super, super rich. Like, Bill Gates was always walking around in like, it looks like he shopped at Target.
Mark Zuckerberg wears the same shirt every day to cut down on making decisions.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of eccentricity with that, but also like those people, or that kind of idea of like, don't show off your wealth, don't flaunt it. I think that's actually kind of going away. You look at the way that Bezos dresses and the way that he behaves and stuff, and he's kind of not really ashamed of his wealth, He's
got the inferiority complex from being like a nerd when he was younger.
They were all nerds. Yeah. They were all nerds.
Yeah, but the rest of them stayed nerds. He has now tried to shed that skin.
Yeah, he's jacked now. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go lift weights.
It was like, that was the meme in like 5 years ago, right? It was like the meme of him when he first launched his company, and he's got like the sweater vest on and the glasses. It's like, I sell books.
I mean,
it's like, I sell whatever the fuck I want.
I think there's a balance to all this, though. Like, you can look classy and tasteful without flaunting wealth or even needing wealth. In all reality,
yeah. I mean,
just don't look like a bum. That's all I ask.
There was a time in my life when we were touring a lot, right? Like, and I was just like, I do not care. You're constantly on planes, constantly on the bus, constantly traveling, and I was definitely guilty of being like, I don't care. I'm wearing what's comfortable. And I think that as the band stopped kind of going as hard, because we made our career and we didn't have to take every tour that was out there. Like, I was just like, all right, you know what? And also it probably had something to do with the fact that I stopped drinking. But I was like, you know what? I kind of don't want to look like a slob anymore. And I don't know if that's maturity or what, but like the idea of going to a plane or going to Walmart. Like,
anywhere
I'm
in
not,
public.
Yeah, I'm not
I
looking like.
I would be ashamed if I mean, I don't even own pajamas that look as horrendous as
it's
that.
It's more about
like
offending other people at this point.
Well, exactly. That was my point about not really wanting to have to look at obese people too.
And the point is like, I don't necessarily agree in practice because I wouldn't dress that way going anywhere.
You're just like F the airlines.
But I don't have a problem with people doing it because F those airlines.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm actually rather fond of Delta. So
the people that run the airlines or that would control this don't actually come in contact with you. Mm-hmm. So you're not giving.
This
them
isn't even the airlines that are doing it. This is Tampa Airport.
Yeah.
So
you're 0.5% over your baggage weight. You now have to pay $80 extra.
How did that combo come about? They're like, dude, these slobs are pissing me tired. Did you smell those people? Like, was it the smell? Probably the smell.
Oh, it probably was a smell too.
They're like,
I mean,
I
Just
I've
thought of
seen
that
the last pair.
really recently. I didn't see a whole lot of this, so
they're like these hordes of animals.
I've seen a lot.
The last
Really?
pair of
Yeah.
Cookie Monster pajamas I'm letting in here.
get out of here.
But also, I find that it is in like the big international airports. Like I tweeted out on my way here that I hate flying out of LAX just because I have to deal with so many foreign nationals, and it's just really daunting to me. But I think they're like things like this are worse in airports like that.
Isn't
'cause
there
you
another
don't-
airport you can fly out of other than LAX?
Yeah, it's just small.
of them.
Yeah, they're just regional, so I'd have to have a layover or
okay.
something. So it's give and take in that sense.
Foreign
but-
nationals, like where? You just hanging out, like walking around, getting planes and stuff?
Yeah, well, like, I mean, tourists and things like that. People that just don't speak English. And it's like en masse. I mean, DCA is a really bad one, too. Like a
I'm
lot of.
partial to DCA.
You mentioned it earlier in the show how it was uncomfortable to be around people that were speaking Spanish or speaking other languages all the time. And I didn't respond, or you said something about that.
No, it's not uncomfortable necessarily, but the fact that I am essentially have to go to establishments in America, an English-speaking country, and I go to establishments that don't speak English and don't even have menus in the English language, that is a problem.
Because you're a bigot.
Yeah, exactly. I am a bigot, a racist, all those things.
I was living
of
in
course.
Chile for a while, and it was exhausting not knowing the language. Just the cultural difference was exhausting, literally physically exhausting, because I couldn't communicate my ideas properly, and I fled. I ran away from Chile. And I was like, I'm doing it in America. I can't take it because it was a billion. Chile's got the money, but so I understand. I highly identify with being surrounded by. I wonder if people are feeling like cultural fatigue just because it's like the internet. You see Indians. We were talking about Indians earlier today. Like there's all the Indian hate on the internet, and like
I get all of it.
what without being, it's like we're surrounded by it without being surrounded by it.
Well, but I think the problem is that people seriously have been so brainwashed with this idea that we have to just accept everything here. Like and we shouldn't, because guess what? We have to be honest with you, in my personal opinion, we have the most superior country and culture in the entire world, and we should be able to preserve that, as does every other country in the world. I wouldn't be able to walk into most countries as an American and not be able to, or not have to abide by their cultures and customs. I would be forced to learn the language if I was there long term. I would be shamed if I didn't. So why exactly is it something that we are forced to embrace here? Is that people bringing their cultures here, eroding ours, not abiding by our basic immigration laws? And I could make a list that goes on and on about things that people do that blatantly disrespect the country when they aspire to come here. I don't understand that.
Suicidal empathy.
That's exactly what it is.
I think they're planning to globalize and get all these people with like one world government,
Well,
and they're trying to shatter the United States.
I agree that that's what it is up here, but it's not down here. They're preying on the empathetic nature of the voters and the people, and they're brainwashing them to think that if I go to India, I want to, and I expect to experience the Indian culture. I don't want to have to go to an American city and experience New Delhi. Like, I don't, and I shouldn't have to, and that's not how it should be. But to say that is now racist and bigoted, and everyone's been brainwashed to think that, no, I have to accept these immigrant communities coming and taking over our American cities, and if I don't embrace that, then I am whatever word.
Xenophobic?
Yeah,
xenophobic.
exactly. Xenophobic, racist, whatever you want to call it.
To your point, the whole brainwashing thing is actually a really succinct point, because the idea that having an opinion about your own country, the idea that makes you a bigot because you say, I like my own country, that's something that's actually prevalent on the left nowadays.
Oh yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
and-
Like it was one of the. I think that might have been one of the first things. Like I consider myself vastly apolitical for a very long time. Still, in a lot of ways, am like I begrudgingly have to follow it because of work. But in general, I always thought it was weird how in the even in the early 2010s, maybe even earlier, where I saw this good amount of people that I knew who just seemed to dislike America, despite the fact that they were born into immense levels of privilege. Like I grew up in like Woodbury, Minnesota. So where I grew up in the city was like the first development built in that town, which is right next to like a jail. And then there was the rich side of the town, which was built after the fact, because 3M opened down there, and 3M has a lot of wealthy people at that time. And whether it was the people that some of the people I went to school with, and then more that I met along the way through skating, there just seemed to be this tinge of almost embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be from here. And I was like, I didn't get it. Like, it didn't make sense to me. I said, people come from all over the world to live here.
Yeah.
And when we travel, there does seem to be a certain disdain for Americans.
There was a time where people came to the United States where they wanted to become American,
Yes.
right? That was real.
And I think
nowadays there's a significant amount of people that come to the United States looking to extract.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So you talk about all the remittance payments that leave the country from illegal aliens or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
They don't come here because they want to share the American
They
dream.
come here to
or
defraud the country.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about even just, I mean, I know that the Somali communities in Minnesota have been such a hot topic for the last handful of months, but they're like some journalist friends of mine uncovered, I think it was $88 million that had gone through the Minneapolis airport and flown out of the country
yeah,
by
yeah,
the
we
Somalis.
talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they have to be moving $1 million in cash every single day. And guess what? The entire airport is run by Somalis, so it's largely flying under the radar, and that's how much they had to declare. Imagine what they didn't have to declare that was just funneled out of the country.
So yeah, the idea that people want to come to the United States and become American, that's something that's actually
Novel
you
now.
know, it's not. Yeah, it's novel. It's not the majority of people, which is again the reason why I want to shut down all immigration for at least a decade.
Well,
and
you
then,
do that.
And let us just bounce back from it. Let us get the people that are here legally in either if they end up being essentially forfeiting their allegiance to the United States, which I argue a lot of them already have. They've gone against the oath that they take when they become naturalized. If you have an allegiance to a foreign nation, you should have your citizenship
you
revoked.
go to a protest and you're flying a foreign flag, that should be immediate.
Exactly.
Immediate
Could
deportation.
not agree more. But aside from that, we need to get those type of people out of the country or force them to assimilate. And that's only going to happen if we
go
have
with
a
option
large...
A.
Yeah, exactly.
You were talking about non-citizens waving foreign flags. Yeah, you weren't talking about
No, I'm talking
me going
about
out and
citizens
waving
too.
a foreign flag. And
I'm talking about citizens
you wanted
too.
to deport me if I
you-
go out and wave a Mexican flag?
Were you born in the United States? Then no, I don't have a right to deport you. But when you take an oath of citizenship to this country, you essentially say that your allegiance is to America, not a foreign nation. But there are people in Congress right now that say that their allegiance is to a foreign nation. That goes against your oath of
Well,
citizenship.
sometimes it's. I have an oath to the ethos of the United States, the nation itself. But if someone co-ops the nation, I have a obligation to take it back.
That's a different story.
Not,
Through
that's
whatever.
That's a different
totally
story.
different.
Okay, maybe, but if it's my, I have to justify, is it too far? People think Trump has seized the country. Some people think that.
Yeah, but Trump's not flying a foreign flag. Trump doesn't have an allegiance.
Yeah,
to a
they do
foreign
it
nation.
with a suit and a smile, but they think it's like foreign.
This is a totally different topic.
I know,
though.
it's
A different topic, but yeah.
It is.
But
It's really
I
different. It's
understand
three
your
topics.
point. But this is it's a very specific topic and not relative to that specific point.
If you come to the United States and you become a citizen and you're naturalized, right? You're not born here. You're not a born citizen, and you're flying a flag of a foreign nation at a protest, and you're like, like you saw in L.A., there was a lot of people that were flying the Mexican flag. I don't care if they're illegal or if they came here and became a citizen. You should be stripped of your citizenship and deported. If you have an allegiance to another country, like the Somalis in Michigan or Minneapolis, if they have an allegiance to Somalia, go back to Somalia.
Yeah, well, and I would argue if you're an immigrant to this country, whether you're legal or not, you should be stripped of your citizenship if you're defrauding the country on that large of a scale. Like those Somalis that are literally funneling money out of the country and into Africa, then yeah, you know what? You should be denaturalized and shipped back to your country of origin.
And to that
I don't
point,
care if you came here legally.
The argument that you get from the left all the time is, oh, well, they bring such such a great
don't.
economic activity.
At all.
They don't. They're literally
They're a
taking
massive
the money
burden.
that they make and they're sending it out. They're not paying taxes on it. They're just sending it out of the United States. So it's literally just extracting wealth from the United States. Those people should have to go.
Well,
Absolutely.
and on top of that, the argument that they actually are producers when it comes to the economy or stimulants to the economy, they're not. Somalis specifically pay something a tenth of the taxes that the average white person in Minnesota does. So it's like they're not paying taxes. They're largely on government benefits. They're all on subsidized
You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be allowed to take any like if you come to the United States, you shouldn't be allowed to sign up for any kind of
Agreed.
government support
Yep.
or anything like
Yep.
that.
Agreed.
If you come to the United States, you are allowed to stay. The reason that you're allowed to stay is because you're a benefit to the United States economically, because you bring something to the country. You shouldn't be able to come to the country and be like, now let me
And
get on
leech
to
off
some
of
kind
it.
of benefits and stuff like that.
Yep.
You should have to be second
I mean,
generation.
like people that are fleeing like oppression.
So that's
somewhere.
talking about asylum, and the only
It's a
people that
different-
actually can get asylum are Canadians or Mexicans. Because the way that asylum works is as soon as you get to a country that is safe for you, if you're fleeing political oppression, if you go to your neighboring country and it's safe for you there, that's where you stop.
Where you take a boat to New York.
Who's taking the boat? Who's taking a boat to New
Someone
York?
fleeing like Nigeria. I don't know what country's in trouble right now, but someone fleeing there, they take a boat to New York.
Well, they shouldn't be allowed in. They can go to another country that's bordering. That doesn't border.
You're saying the only way to claim asylum is to walk over the land to
it
get to
has
the
to
United
be
States?
You know, so
bordering.
that's
The way that
essentially what
asylum-
staying in Mexico is.
Yeah, the way the asylum laws work is if you can go to a bordering country that's safe for you, and an ocean is not a border, an ocean is an ocean. So if you can go to
If you're on an island.
You go to Mexico.
Laugh it up, but like real
Also,
question.
no, there were people who were flying into Mexico so they could then walk
over the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Which
point-
is a whole, I mean, which
Yep.
it ties into it, but that's a different
Wait,
story.
you're saying if someone's on an island
asylum
and
claim.
then the genocidal dictator kills, they flee the island, they have to go to Mexico before they can come to the U.S.? They can't just flee to the New York harbor?
So the only islands that I can think of that you'd be talking about would be
for
Cuba,
instance. Yeah, something like that.
right? And Cubans have been. I think that I would say, okay, we could make an exception for Cuba.
Well, don't they?
to entertain your argument, but otherwise,
But don't they already do that with wet foot, dry foot policy?
Yeah.
So basically, they get here.
Yeah.
If they catch them out in the ocean, they send them back. But if they make it to dry land, then they get sent for what is it like?
Miami.
Miami.
But I mean, so yeah, to your point, fine.
But
Because
also-
for the sake of argument, Cuba. But other than that, the only countries that actually have legitimate claim to asylum are Canada and Mexico. Anyone else from anywhere else, they have to stop at the first country that they come
England.
to. Safe. England is an island, and they're
Scotland,
not
Wales.
they don't border the United States, and you've got Wales, you've got Scotland, you've got Ireland, and also you can go to France on the tube.
Plus,
The
they've
other-
got their own problems. Let them figure it out.
The other problem is that when you make that specific argument, we're not even talking about just bordering nations. Everyone on the left, at least, ties in like these Middle Eastern countries, these African countries. And guess what? We don't have an obligation to take them in. There are hundreds of nations that are much closer to them that should be obligated to take those refugees in way before we
With
do.
cultures that are far more similar.
That's exactly right. And like, look, I can only think of maybe one country that is under actual political persecution that we should allow refugees in from because they're yes, exactly, the whites in South Africa. Like they would be highly compatible with our culture, but the large majority of nations on that side of the world would absolutely not be. And there are plenty of countries that they could go to claim asylum that would be much more compatible for them and their culture.
That's where the suicidal empathy discussion comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, we can't let these poor people, there are poor people suffering. The meme is, poor child's crying. We have to tear up the Constitution and throw it away.
Yep.
And Instagram does that on their feed. They'll give you a dog suffering and like someone's saving a cat, and then they'll give you an ad to buy something next because it gets your emotions up. It's
Emotions
literally a tactic.
Punch the monkey.
Yeah, punch the
Punch.
monkey.
Such a dangerous,
I
powerful.
did say that punch could probably basically cause
give
world
Punch
peace,
asylum?
honestly.
Oh, Punch could-
Yeah.
oh,
I
really?
was going to say everyone's uniting over just like save little Punch. I
What's
think
punch?
Punch is
Punch
a
the
little
monkey.
monkey.
Punch is the new Mudang, except for more depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Punch, the story has a happy ending. Punch has.
No,
we
we talked about it today. Punch is a psyop.
Yeah,
Punch
you
is
said-
not really.
probably is a
Getting people
psyop.
to say punch the monkey over.
No,
and
I'm
over
not
again.
even kidding you. People were saying it's a distraction from Epstein.
He's in South Korea, isn't he?
I don't know.
No, he's in he's in Asia.
It wasn't
Yeah.
Japan, was
No,
it?
he's in China.
I'm gonna look it
Is
up.
he in China? Well, if it's China, then it's definitely a psyop.
Somebody can look it up.
Definitely, absolutely.
Somebody can look up where it is.
What's the
China's
long
an
and short of this?
adversary.
Punch the
Maybe
monkey.
He's
he's
a very
your
cute
adversary. I don't
monkey
trust
who got
anything that China
rejected
puts
by
out.
his
like
mother.
those Labubu dolls.
Japan.
yeah.
Like those
I'm
are
sorry,
a psyop
Japan.
for sure.
Japan.
Japan, okay, yeah.
Japan's fine.
Yeah.
Japan's fine.
Yeah, Japan's fine.
No
All
psyop from them.
right.
I
All right.
largely trust Japan.
We're gonna jump to this story here. What time is it? Oh yeah, we're gonna jump to this story from the Post Millennial. CNN staffers crash out over Paramount wins bid after Paramount wins bid to take over parent company Warner Brothers. In the wake of Warner Brothers Discovery saying that Paramount's counteroffer to Netflix's takeover bid was the superior offer, CNN employees have expressed concern that layoffs are coming. CNN is a division of Warner Brothers Discovery, meaning Paramount and its head David Ellison will soon be overseeing the left-wing news outlet. One CNN staffer told Status, "We are doomed." Another one said, "We are effed." Yet another staffer said, "Everybody is reeling about the obvious things." An insider told the outlet of the mood at the news outlet, "The panic at CNN right now is off the charts."
They were already panicking because they hate David Zaslav, even though they work for him.
I mean, their tears are delicious, but
There's
I
nothing.
know. I was going to say, let him cry.
There was also, to the point earlier, there was things being said like where filmmakers are like, I don't know how I feel about, them being so cozy to Trump. And I said the same thing you did. I said, well, Ted Sarandos from Netflix has been an Obama donor. He was a Hillary donor. I'm sorry, he wasn't an Obama donor. He was a Hillary donor. He was a Biden donor. And of course, he, hosts Obama through Obama's production company, which has an exclusive deal with Netflix. Were they too cozy then?
yeah.
Like, there was a great post that was like, they will never understand their own hypocrisy at the fact that, like, they've controlled every institution for so long that they can't imagine anything not going
To your
their way.
point about hypocrisy, it is not hypocrisy. It is hierarchy. It is okay when we do it. It is not okay when they do it.
Yeah,
And it's-
rules for thee, but not for
Exactly.
me.
Look, there are reasons to be generally distrustful of any level of consolidation. I do think, speaking purely from the entertainment perspective, because that's my my genre or whatever, is like I think
wheelhouse.
I think that them going to Paramount is the far superior deal because they're going to focus on theatrical releases for the movies and maybe giving more space to the television shows because they're going to focus on putting entertainment first rather than the level of political influence that goes into Netflix productions and stuff like that. But like the amount of money that they've spent on this, it's $111 billion, all cash offer, $31 a share, $47 billion of it coming from the Ellison's private trust. The rest of it's all debt financing. So they also take on all of Warner Brothers' debt, which is like $33 billion, and they pay the $2.8 billion breakup fee that's basically saying they have to pay Netflix for basically pulling Warner Brothers away from their
Impressive how you got all the numbers down like that.
one-on-one. Well, I just did a video on it earlier. So, but the point being is like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing because the best option here would be that Warner Brothers operates independently and gets to, live and die on their own. But it was very clear 2 years ago when they started canceling projects, basically signing things off to debt so that they could get tax breaks on projects that were already being made at that time, that what David Zaslav wanted to do was sell the company off. But some people don't believe that they would have passed regulatory approval. A lot of people believe that if Netflix had gotten the deal, that Trump's cabinet wouldn't have allowed it to go through. Not to mention that part of the deal for Paramount is there's like a $7 billion insurance on there that if it doesn't pass regulatory approval, that will go to the Warner Brothers shareholders. So, I mean, consolidation is bad, but watching people at CNN worry about whether Barry Weiss is going to be their boss is actually kind of hilarious.
That's one of the best parts about it. The Post-Millennial goes on. Netflix CEO Greg Peters said on Thursday that the company was no longer pursuing Warner Brothers Discovery. The transaction we negotiated would have created shareholder value with a clear path to regulatory approval. However, we've always been disciplined, and at the price required to match Paramount Skydance's latest offer, the deal is no longer financially attractive. So we are declining to match the Paramount Skydance bid. Under Netflix deal, the streaming giant was seeking only streaming. HBO and their film studio, Paramount, sought to acquire Warner Brothers' entire company.
The whole thing.
Status said that CNN staffers are also panicking over the suddenly very real prospect that they could be working for Barry Weiss before the end of the year. In October, Paramount bought Weiss's outlet, The Free Press, for $150 million, and Weiss was made editor-in-chief of Paramount-owned CBS News. I love the fact that they're freaking out.
The fact that in their mind Barry Weiss is some like wing radical is just so funny to me.
Do you think that this is going to have an impact on their programming and their actual on-air personalities?
I mean, like, I've already seen, like...
Are they going to bring Don Lemon back?
That would be hilarious.
Oh my
should
gosh,
do that.
imagine.
The other funny thing about this, you'll love this, is now James Gunn has to worry about working with David Ellison, and that's which means that maybe you'll get the Snyderverse back.
I would love...
I don't want that to happen.
I
but
want that to happen.
The point being that
I
he's
want to
got
see
that
an
to worry
old
about.
Ben Affleck. I want to see Ben Affleck as old Batman. That's what I want.
This is the fiat age of fiat. They're liquidating our assets. They're printing billions, trillions of dollars. They're corporately colluding now. They're consolidating the corporate power as the AI is growing underneath. And I understand sometimes it's fun to laugh at your enemy's pain, but that shouldn't distract you from what's actually happening. That this is a gigantic, because entertainment and information flow are one and the same in a lot of ways. Like entertainment is a type of information flow. It can be a very subversive type of information flow. I don't know. That's I'm so nervous, dude. I don't know what to do about it. It's like I'm watching it happen, and like, what do you do?
Paramount, look, Paramount isn't all good. They made Starfleet Academy, and from what I understand, everybody hates Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
So, but of course, that's from before Ellison's tenure there, and it's very interesting. Apparently, what we've learned is that no doesn't always mean no if you've got enough money.
Well, no never means no if you got enough money. But Ian, to your point, you're talking about AI being the underlying kind of foundation. If AI is going to make people that are creative able to create things in a with less friction, with less difficulty, how is it that the media is still going to be the giant that you say it's going to be?
Because they're going to siphon off percentages of everything that you make.
Why?
5%. You can use like Disney World, the VR realm, where you get to create all the different movies of Disney with yourself as actors.
Talking about licensing?
Disney is-
Licensing. They'll be licensing you percentage of this. It'll be $9,000 an hour or a second if you want to use Harrison Ford in this movie or whatever. And like
$9,000 a second.
Yeah, you'll be able to set your fee as an actor. Yeah. Harrison Ford's probably worth about $9,000 a second if you want him for a cameo in your movie.
I don't think that's
$150,000 would be reasonable.
You mean they're going to be paying Harrison Ford that money?
It would be like subscription fees go to Ford, and then they'd take a cut of that, and that's where the AI starts clipping off bits, and you get this like siphon class, like bankers collecting interest and stuff.
When these actors sign contracts with these studios now, they sign the right of way to even like most of the time to their likeness. They're already being used. The same thing is happening to the animators in the industry, where basically if you're getting hired to do animation in Hollywood right now, you're being hired to do work that is going to be used to train your replacement, which is AI.
I think it should be a human right to control of your likeness. Matthew McConaughey has been talking about it lately, specifically. I kind of went the other route. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make my persona free for everyone to use, like public commons, and see how that goes. But the reality is no one else, unless you opt in, should have access to using your likeness for anything, no matter what you sign.
What they're actually getting is the character.
That's what they'll say,
Yeah, because if they're like, oh, we're doing, like, for instance, you mentioned Harrison Ford, right? Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is Han Solo. If someone's like, I want to put Han Solo in this thing, well, the character is the property of now Disney, right?
Well, and you can blame the capitalism for that, right? Which is that back in the day, the actor reaped the benefits of this by making massive amounts of money with off the backs of these things being made for. So, like you said, for Harrison Ford, whether it's Indiana Jones or whether it's Han Solo, now Disney, they sign before James Earl Jones died. They have the right to his voice in perpetuity, forever. They can use that voice, and the companies will eventually hit a point where they're not going to need the actors anymore. First of all, like, you're not going to see a rise of new franchises that are going to be that way, be the size of an Indiana Jones or a Star Wars anyways. We don't live in a monoculture anymore. Yeah. Like, that's done. Like, it's going to be niche stuff online. They're already planning to set up, it might even be on there right now, for AI uploads on Disney Plus, where you're going to be able to make your own movies and stuff on there with various programs. Tim was ahead of the curve on that. I thought we were 5 years away from that. It was way sooner than that.
Everything is going to happen so much faster.
Disney is in a, if I remember correctly, Disney has entered into an agreement with OpenAI anyways to give their employees access to AI software to do their job better. So, whatever that means at Disney, they're not good at their jobs anyways. No. But this story is actually, in a lot of ways, it's not actually a good thing. We only think it is because we like laughing at the people who are going to be stuck working for David Ellison.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the part that's delicious about this, right? Is they're freaking out about, oh no, we're going to be taken into the right wing echo chamber and blah blah blah. And that's why I asked if you thought that the programming. It's possible
that there will be a change in the way the programming looks.
Do you think? I mean,
at the same time, Trump said he didn't like when they did the 60 Minutes with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think it was, and Trump's like, this new administration is just as bad as the old one, even though it was Ellison and 60 60 Minutes.
Well, I mean, anytime you talk to Donald Trump and it's not, glazing him, he's like, no, it wasn't
Yes.
good, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I understand that that's kind of par for the course when it comes to Donald Trump. But when you're talking about more broadly, just the way that they treat the right? Because obviously anyone on the right, they're not just on the right; they're a right-wing extremist. That's been something that's been coming out of not just Congress. You hear Congress people and senators saying that. They've been saying it for a decade. Anything that's to the left of or to the right of Hillary Clinton is a far-right extremist. But I wonder if they're actually going to start being a little more fair, and at the very least, their portrayal.
It's possible that purely for financial reasons. I don't think it really matters anyways. I think like these institutions are dying for the most part. Like legacy media as it is isn't the cash cow that it would have been 20 or 30 years ago.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's not, and the ones that are prospering are largely taking all of the eyeballs from the other ones. So
yeah, I mean the way that technology is kind of actually manifest. It doesn't actually democratize everything. It hollows it out. So it's basically all the big names just get super huge, and then like the smaller guys find it, kind of struggling over the, fighting for the pieces and crumbs that are left over.
yeah, well, and the cycle moves so quickly too. It's like, I mean, we saw the rise of, for example, like Sydney Sweeney so quickly, and it's kind of dying, and it's going to continue to die. Like that's how it's all going to be, and that's why we don't have the, like you said, like the legacy franchises aren't going to mean anything anymore because everything's so fast paced nowadays. People don't have the attention span for it.
I do wonder what I do look forward to seeing, what kind of changes come to CNN. I do think that they're going to make adjustments because they're not just, I mean, no one's going to.
They're dying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that, but the point that I'm making is, like, no one's just going to be like, well, give it up, guys. Let's go ahead and just pack it in. I mean, they just spent all this money on.
There are going to be changes.
This whole thing. They're going to be trying to cap and do what they can to make their money back and make it a profitable deal.
Mm-hmm.
The furthest left people already, I'm not even kidding you, they already consider CNN far right because David Zaslav was in charge of them. So it's like that level of delusion it's not tenable. You can't actually live in that world and expect people to like live in your reality.
Yeah.
It's not the real world. And this is going to be, and I don't know, like you were talking earlier about the possibility that some of these companies get broken up. Like this is the only other deal that I can think of when I think of like the amount of money that was moved here. It was like the debt financing that Disney had to acquire to buy Fox back in, what was that, 2018 or 2019? I forget what year it was that they ended up purchasing Fox, but they haven't even made their money back on that, really. Not really. Like all they've used it for is to make a bunch of movies that nobody watches because they didn't actually put any effort into marketing the Fox movies. They become avant-garde things like Searchlight Pictures, and the rest of it is like basically Deadpool laughing at 20th century X-Men characters. But they're not making their money back on it, just the way Disney hasn't made their money back on Star Wars.
Disney hasn't made their money back on Star Wars. They blew that bad. Yep. Can you imagine like one of the biggest franchises in film history, and they literally destroyed it?
They got it for a song too. They got it for $4 billion. That's nothing in that world.
Unreal.
Yeah, well, really, I mean, every single production they've had when it comes to Star Wars has been a complete train wreck. Other than maybe the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, everything's just been botched.
No, a lot of people liked Rogue One.
Yeah, I was just going to say
Oh,
Rogue One.
yeah.
Rogue One was actually good, but I think honestly, Rogue One was good, and I think that the reason that people think that Rogue One was as good as it was the last minute
been
when
trash.
Darth Vader is going.
But the same people liked Andor. And I mean, nobody watched it.
I haven't
people
seen
really
Andor.
liked it.
Was
the
it
ones
the-
that did watch it liked it. I didn't watch it, but
I didn't watch
from
it.
what I know, people really liked it. It just cost a fortune. It was like $700 million to make.
And did it make its money back?
I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how you calculate that with stuff that goes to streaming because there's no
True, because there's no direct revenue that's
Yeah.
sourced towards that specific piece of production. But
Interesting. I was thinking earlier, and now it's kind of prescient again. It's like the whole world. They want to be American. They want to come to. Maybe they just want to siphon off what they think we got. But like we kind of have a duty now to impress the world. Like, we are the best, and it's not like an ego thing. It's like our system is the best. I just happen to be lucky enough to be born here and continue to support it, and show that through movies and TV because that big business has been bought out by foreign entities, it seems like. I don't think they really care about Americanism. Like Captain America was America. Like that was the guy fought Nazis.
You know, they tried to, we just did a story the other day that basically China tried to get Sony, excuse me, to take the Statue of Liberty scene out of out of No Way Home. You couldn't do it because it's like the whole last 20 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, really?
But yeah, I mean, there's no way the movie wouldn't have made any sense. I guess they could have like digitally changed it somehow, but they were never going to do that.
Really gonna make it
But
into
now
it.
no Statue of Liberty in Brand New Day coming out because they want the China release.
That's insane.
So stupid.
We were talking about, you mentioned this, like the fact that China even has that kind of leverage over American companies
It's
is,
a billion people, right?
yeah, I mean,
And you keep China keeps 75% of the box office, so you're getting scraps compared to what you get when you release domestically.
it's not worth it to bastardize American properties and American culture like that either.
It destroys a lot of goodwill
Yeah.
that people have towards them. People got really upset when they released Black Panther in China and they put the helmet on
Mask
Chadwick
on him, yeah.
Boseman so that they could hide the fact that he was black
Yeah.
to the Chinese audience.
Chinese they get inside, they sit down with their popcorn, they're like, oh, they'll just get up and run when they see
Did they think he was Black
black
Panther?
people.
It's but the point is like they would hear the Americans here virtue signaling about racism and all the things that they do here, but then they're like going to kowtow to China just to make a couple extra bucks.
Of course.
Yeah, and
See Sea Dance? Have you seen Sea Dance?
Sea
This
Dance.
new AI. It's a Chinese AI that you might have seen the Brad Pitt fight scene with Tom Cruise. on
Yes,
the
I
roof.
did.
That's
The one
Sea
that looks
Dance.
like actually quite good.
So they don't really care about copyright. It seems like
No.
they're just like,
No.
fuck your copyright.
No.
No, they got a bunch of like requests from the companies to
I'm sure to take
stop
them.
that. Yeah. I mean, I don't
Question is,
really
are
like
they
none of
gonna
that
do
stuff.
it, though?
All those fights were the same though. Like every single, it was just different people, and it was pretty much the same camera angles. And
oh yeah,
it wasn't the Brad Pitt one was funny just because it was like him talking about Epstein
Yeah.
to Tom Cruise.
good lord.
But otherwise, the rest of it was like it's novel because you can see John Wick fighting, I guess, Captain America or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean that's again, when it comes to AI, it's like every time something comes out and people are like, oh man, that's cool, and then someone says, well, criticize it or whatever, it's still worth remembering. This is the worst it's ever gonna be.
That's
I
exactly
have
right. It's
no
only
desire
getting
to
better.
Make a movie.
It's-
Like, I don't
no.
want to
Apparently,
have to go
quick
home and prompt a
interjection.
movie.
Apparently, if we get 5 more super chats that are $5, Ian has to sing a song before the end of the
Oh.
show.
I can do
Colin
that.
just told me this.
No more super chats.
I have the guitar right here.
Oh.
5 more.
Sorry to interrupt.
Five
You
more,
want an
five
original?
more $5.
You gotta wait. You can't do it yet. Then you're giving it away for free.
Yeah, you gotta wait.
You gotta force me to do it.
What were you gonna say?
Guitar in
Brett?
my hand.
What were you gonna say?
I don't even remember.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
Super
It,
Chat-
it
it's
was
time for
so
Super
good.
Chats.
What I was going to
Is
say is
it?
the
No, not
fights were
yet.
so good. You were saying they were repetitively
Right.
just different actors.
Yeah, they
but
just kind of all look the same.
It was so good that like, why would you ever make another movie?
Oh, yeah,
you don't have to. You don't even need cameras, so you can go 360 in a room. You don't need
That's-
like to worry about where the cameras are positioned.
Yeah, what you were talking about, how like I don't want to make a movie, right? Like I don't want to make a movie either. And there is, I understand that people are going to be able to prompt it and stuff, but to make a coherent movie that people are going to want to
Actually, still
watch,
going to take a lot of work.
that will still take, even doing it with AI, it's going to take a decent amount of work. I mean, you can tell ChatGPT, give me a script, and then if you just plug it in and say, okay, make this, you're gonna get those weird kind of AI.
Yeah, you're going to still have to
creation stuff.
train the
Yeah.
AI to.
I'm still partial to like one of the arguments they make now is that there's no such thing as the bankable action hero or the bankable actor anymore. That directors are more bankable than actors are.
Yeah.
Because people will go to see a Sam Raimi movie. People
Yeah.
will go to see a Quentin Tarantino movie. I don't want to go and online and find. You're going to get the examples, right? Where somebody that you've never heard of makes a great AI movie, but that's like just 2 steps too far. Like I don't like.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to the theaters anyways.
Yeah.
It's kind of like subscribing to their YouTube channel. Like they pump out good content on the weekly. You don't think that's what it's going to become? Is that like?
But I like
director, it's a
that's
creator's
content
world.
is different than movies to me. Like I there's a lot of people that are that you've never heard of that I love watching their YouTube videos or listening to their podcasts. But that's not the same thing as sitting down in a movie theater and actually watching somebody tell a story.
Yeah, and like so now that Claude can do such a good job, or well, not just Claude, but AI can do such a good job at coding. You can go ahead and make your own apps. You can say, well, I want, do this. They call it vibe coding. You just tell the AI what you want and tell it to do this and do that. But most people, I think, aren't interested in sitting down with a computer and saying, hey, make me an app for this. And one of the things that I think will still happen is people don't, I heard this on the Naval podcast, people don't want second best, right? So when you go and you search for something, you're not going to say, find me an app that does this. You're going to say, find me the best app that does this. So the idea that everyone's going to make a bunch of stuff and everyone's just going to watch it and stuff, no, I don't think that's true. And the reason I don't is because people are going to say, find me the best. And so you're still going to have a situation where kind of the cream rises to the top. Even
Marketing matters.
Yeah, marketing matters, absolutely. But even if you're just doing searches and stuff, and that's why I mentioned apps, because there's not really the marketing with that. You're just people that are looking to do things. They're going to say, make me get me the best of this. That's what people will use AI for. They won't say, make me this app.
Yeah.
They'll just say, hey, get me the best one of these. And then you'll end up with a situation where there's one that's the best and that one gets spread around and that's the one that people use. And there'll be some people that don't like the interface or whatever. So there'll be a second one that's way down. And then after that, there's going to be 1,000 apps that people were trying, but they didn't really hit the spot the way that the best did. And so it's not the best. And I think that that's going to be more... I think that's going to be more prevalent than the idea that there's this just chaos of different movies that you could watch and stuff. And it's something that even Tim mentioned. He was like, people are going to say, oh, did you see blah, blah, blah's movie? Well, that's kind of talking about my point. It's people word of mouth will get around and people will say, get me the best of this. And I want to watch the best stuff. And it's not going to be a situation where there's just a bajillion of, slop AI movies that people are watching. There will still be a situation where people are like, oh, I want to see, did you hear about this one? I want to see it because everyone says it's good.
That makes me, I want to get rid of copyright. I think copyright has been used insidiously to control data. Your dad had a lot of money and bought a cartoon. Now no one else can ever use it because somebody paid money. Like it got invented by the British, from what I learned, Queen Elizabeth, I think, to control the printing of the Bibles because they wanted to make sure they owned the flow of the Bibles going out. So if you want the best, you need access to the best data set. And if it's copywritten, you can't get it. And then some secret society will be using it. So I feel like we're as you see with Sea Dance, they don't care about copyright. And why would we hamstring ourselves if they're not?
But the point that I'm making is it would be an organic thing. It wouldn't matter about copyright where people are just like, oh, I want to see this one because I heard it was really good.
Sorry, I interrupt, but what I would mean is okay, AI, build me an app like the YouTube app, but change these things, and it'll be. I cannot build an iteration of that copywritten app.
Well, but that's the point. When you're talking to an AI about coding, you wouldn't have to mention YouTube. Make me a video player that'll do this, this, and this, and this, and I want this and this and this. You don't have to mention someone else's app. And the idea of a video player isn't something that's copywritten. So there might be proprietary stuff that say YouTube has.
Yeah, that wouldn't give you access to the content on YouTube. Yeah, though.
That's true.
The point he's saying is to have a version of it that could let you watch YouTube.
No, just a version of the data. If I want the code, not everyone has to give me all their code. I'm not saying that, but we're up against people that don't care about your code, privacy rules and laws, and they don't care if you're Tom Cruise. They're going to use you in movies anyway.
The thing that when you go to when you are actually writing code or you're talking to an AI that can code for you, it's writing the code. So you're not actually getting someone else's code. It's writing code.
Well, have you ever used Suno?
This is exactly where I thought this was going, and that's why I'm laughing so hard.
I'll be like, hey, Suno, make me a song like the Beach Boys, but techno, and it'll be like, can't.
Because it's their song.
Make me a song that's
that's how they get paid.
Upbeat, surfer rock, and it's you say everything about them.
So
and
you can't
just hit the nail on the head.
You can't say make me a song like All That Remains, but you can say make me a metalcore song.
Right.
And there's a bunch of stuff that.
But if we want the best, we got to be able to bounce off the backs of our forefathers.
Why?
Well, I mean, that's how evolution works.
But the thing is, when it's not that the AI is deciding what's best. When I say that people are going to be looking for the best, people are going to decide what is the best.
They're going to essentially just tweak things until it is quote unquote the best.
Yeah. Well, Brett's point about marketing too, if you don't know it exists, then it wouldn't be on the ranking for the best, even if it was the best.
That's more about advertising than anything.
I was going to say it's easier than ever to advertise. I mean, you have the whole internet at your fingertips.
The downside is everyone's advertising, so the pool is saturated also.
Correct. So again, the cream.
I mean, look, from my perspective,
if it's private, you can't. Sorry, what is it?
Well, just from my perspective, advertising is super important. I mean, we released our most recent record, and it was all self-financed. We did it all, and the advertising, it was was as expensive as the production of the record.
Which is why
Could've been
the
more,
music
yeah.
industry is the way that it is, right?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the artists, for all the artists that complain about, the hold that the label has on them, or the movie makers who complain about, the studio wanting it to look this way. It's like, look, unless you're footing the bill
Yeah.
to market it to the public, and they never acknowledge that part of it. They're never willing to admit that, look, I want them to take a risk on my piece of avant-garde art. What I want to take none of the risk to make it.
Yeah, if you want to say, look, I'll license this, that's one thing, right? They have the license for 5 or 7 years or whatever, so they make the lion's share of the money. But then you get ownership back. That's kind of the way that the music industry has become nowadays. If you have, especially if you're a band that has a fan base and you have a history, it's easy to be like, we want a license for this long. Whereas when you're trying to start out and you're an unproven product, you have no history, you have no track record, you have no catalog. The label's not going to be like, yeah, we'll totally give it to you. Give you, here's $100,000 to do your record, and we don't know if you're even gonna stay together for the next 6 months
What was
or whatever.
the example? Was JoJo signed like the world's worst contract? It took like 20 years for her to get her song.
Yeah, I mean, and that's labels do that kind of stuff all the time. They're like, we sign a band for the life of the band is kind of the way that they say it, because they want to say, we're putting all this money in up front, and we'll you've got X amount of records, so. Or for whatever the life of the band is, every time we invest money in you and every time we spend money on marketing, we want to make sure that we get our investment back. And a label will sign 10 bands and maybe one of them will go and be able to break even. Never mind make a lot of money. So it's like if a label signs 50 bands, maybe one of them will become big enough to cover the loss on all the other bands.
You were the one who told me that. It was like one ends up subsidizing pretty much all the other artists.
Yeah, and so I understand artists that, when they're like, oh, I don't own this and I don't own and blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. We've got like tons of stuff that we don't own that we'll never own. But like at the same time, like the reason we have a career, the reason we can still go and go on tour and know that people are going to come, the reason that people are still listening to our Spotify millions of times a month is because of the effort that was put in by us writing, but also the label, putting effort in and putting us into video games and getting our stuff on the radio and making sure that people were listening to our stuff,
It's true of the people who end up doing a lot of genre sci-fi, right? Like they don't end up getting residuals on a lot of the shows that they do, but they've got convention spots for life where they will be able to make money off that. For as long as they're alive, their face is going to make the money.
Yeah, it's the label really does do a lot of the legwork in helping you build a career. And once you've built that career, once your name is out there, they can't take that from you. Like, I suppose if you sign a bad contract and they own the name, that's a terrible idea. But labels don't usually own the name of an artist. They're like, okay, we'll sign you. We'll own the music that you do for us, the music that we pay to produce, that we pay for this time in the studio. We own the master tapes. But otherwise, you still have a career if you get off the label or whatever.
WWE owns John Cena's real name. They get a piece of everything he does, even though it's his actual real name.
Yeah, I mean,
he loves it. He's the quintessential company dude.
Yeah, he's the face of WWE essentially, and he probably will be forever.
All right, I think it's about time we go to Super Chats.
Before we get into it, I must say we have some news. Ian, we've got your goal met. So if you stay until the end, Ian's going to play at 9:55. We'll do our outros, and then you will have the encore take it away stuff.
All right, so smash the like button, share the show with all your friends. Go to timcast.com and become a member there. Join our Discord, and then head on over to rumble.com where you can watch the after show. There's no after show tonight. It's Friday, but it's Monday through Thursday. We spend an hour after the show talking. We have people call in from the Discord. We have an uncensored version an uncensored show because YouTube is still kind of, finicky about what you can or can't say, but Rumble doesn't care. So
censorship can be good sometimes.
No, but anyways,
No, norms can be good.
Yeah, there you
Are
go.
good.
Children, yeah.
Censorship if it's censoring what you're wearing.
Won't you think of the kids?
All right, we're gonna go to where's the super chats button here?
Oh, I'm so pumped for this. I just saw those super chats. They were
I saw
flying
someone.
in.
They were flying in.
It's like super chat.
Someone chatted $4.99. I don't think it counted towards the $5.
Oh,
No,
tough.
there's
Tough. They intentionally left that 1 cent out so that you wouldn't play.
It was like that girl that left me a nickel tip when I was waiting tables, just to let me know she didn't forget.
there we go. All right.
Yep.
Let's see here. What do we got? We got Carlo Mangione Cal says, Ian, are you Slash or Gary Oldman's Dracula?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Gary Oldman did that. I was like going the Ozzy Osbourne route, but Phil was like, what's up, Slash?
Yeah, that's definitely Ozzy wasn't really known for top hat. Not that he hasn't worn a top hat, but that whole sunglasses and top hat
Ozzy was with
is
sunglasses.
Slash's
Slash.
signature.
I think I'm Slash. Did Slash wear a trench coat on stage?
I don't think that it was a constant thing, but I'm sure that he has. You know, I mean, look, Axl Rose wore a kilt and a catcher's chest protector for one show, I remember. So,
Well,
just the
Slash.
craziest
Slash
stuff.
is the answer.
All right, there you go. Let's see. Doodoo175 says, it was missed before. If this calling was never your ringtone, you suck. ATR, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cerebral Vagabond says, I'm a combat vet trying to leave a bad situation. Please need to relocate as quick as possible. Please view my Give, Send, Go page. God bless. Go Trump. There we go. Someone else says, James 35-124 says, is Ian channeling Slash from Guns N' Roses tonight?
Yeah. Oh, it's too slashy, isn't it? It's very slashy.
I mean, it's definitely
Very
Slash.
I just haven't seen him
The
lately.
circle glasses and the
Yeah.
top hat is exactly what Slash wore like from
Maybe I'll get-
1986 to like 1995.
It's immediately what I thought about when I saw you. That's why I asked if there was a goal with.
As a
What's the
Gen
joke?
Z, as a member of Gen Z, knowing Slash is actually fairly impressive.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of Gen Z people don't know Guns N'
What's your
Roses.
favorite Guns N' Roses song?
That's tough. I don't know.
Mine's November Rain.
That's what you should play when we go.
I don't
off
know
the
it.
air.
It's really long, too.
Probably shouldn't play that because it might get us
Copyright.
Mr. Brownstone's good, too. That whole Appetite for Destruction album is so good.
I like 1 in a million. All right, what's this? S. Federali says, hold up, is she the See You in Valhalla brother brand of Patel? I feel like this. I feel like that name got glossed over. No relation to the director of the FBI. Okay.
No.
Do you get that a lot? Do they ask
I do.
you that?
You know what? It's so funny. I'm like, I don't know that anyone's ever been to a hospital before or a liquor store, but the name Patel is incredibly popular.
Or a liquor store.
They're
But-
literally
or
like
a hotel,
You all
motel.
know each other.
Yeah, no. I get every single day. Are you Kash Patel's wife? Are you Kash Patel's cousin? Are you Kash Patel's daughter? I'm like, nope, no relation. I've met the man one time in passing at a restaurant. Other than that, I can safely say no relation, at least to my knowledge.
Ian,
Make
you,
a comment about how you had the same name.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think whoever introduced us very briefly might have said something, but I definitely
Two
didn't.
Smiths aren't like, hey, Smith.
Yeah, right. Like, have you ever encountered anybody else with a common name that does that? No, us Patels don't. Like, I don't know. We don't care. It's not novel in any way, shape, or form.
I'm pretty sure that I saw someone with a announcement of having a baby, and I'm trying to
I think I
find it.
saw that one too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to see you sing tonight, Ian. So
Oh, good.
Trying to figure out what you should say.
Very
I'm going to
exciting.
do Find Me With Words unless
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
another one.
Okay, here we go. From Tay Adams, 7049. He says, proud to announce the birth of my. Wait a minute. Your wife has. It says
Birth of my wife. How do you know
verbatim.
this lady?
Proud to announce the birth of my wife and my third child,
No,
Area
that's
Victoria
illegal.
Lucille Baptiste. I think he meant proud to announce the birth of his third child. But anyways, congratulations. That's what we love to hear.
Don't worry about that, man. Like, I'm already bad enough at reading, and when I'm trying to read the super chats on our show, it's just
He legitimately says, proud to announce the birth of my wife and my third child. So
That is so awesome.
I think that sometimes YouTube is a little, the YouTube app is a little funky when you're actually putting in super chats. But
That's the thing about life extension is you're going to be like hanging out with your great granddaughter's best friends, and they're all going to look like you're 30. It's going to be wild.
Ziggurath says, dating as Gen Z, especially an average-looking guy, is a hellscape, especially if you were conservative, stuck in a libtard state. I would love to find a good woman and have kids with, but I'm about to give up, to be honest. Well, don't give up, and definitely don't settle for an AI chatbot, because you'll never get a kid out of that.
you can always do what I do or what I did. I sent my wife a Joseph Stalin meme.
There you
That's
go.
how I courted her.
Great way to break the ice.
Dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it.
There you go.
It's pretty good.
Corey Richmond says, my biggest pet peeve is a grown man wearing Crocs, pajama pants, an anime hoodie with unkempt beard and hair in public. Have some dignity. I completely understand that. Like, if you are a grown man and you're wearing an outfit like that, particularly if you have a gigantic belly, because they always seem to have a gigantic belly. Like
That pops out a little bit.
Yeah, and the shirt doesn't quite cover it, and everyone has to look at their underbelly. It's disgusting. I completely agree. You should have some dignity and respect for yourself.
Unless you're at the airport, then wear whatever you want.
I
Don't
think-
listen to him. Don't listen to him.
Anything.
No.
Let's see.
Less obesity and less pajamas in public.
That's right.
all right?
Go to the gym. Put the fork down. Andre says, Phil, what do you make of people like me? Millennial Christian conservative, grew up with 4chan. Well, there's your problem. Stuck in Quebecistan. All I want is to be a hillbilly in the woods with my dog, chickens, and guns. Don't care about voting. I mean, look, man, I'm still of the opinion that we should shut the border down. But if you snuck in and you lived in the woods in like Vermont or in New
Deport you
Hampshire,
last.
yeah, you get deported less. I mean, look, if you stay in the woods, I might never find you. So
Just completely off grid.
off grid. If you get yourself some chickens, go into town once a month. If you're up in the hills, up in northern New Hampshire or in Maine, Maine's got a lot of woods up there.
The Unabomber was doing.
I don't think he was. Yeah,
It's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Town
you
was-
could probably fly under the radar if you do that. So stay out of the cities. Let's see. There's a lot of people that are like, someone please give Ian a guitar.
How much for Ian not to sing?
No.
Too late.
way.
Another- That's the
it's
goal.
10 more $10 super chats, and Ian won't
It's
sing.
like one large $1,000 super chat just to
Please don't.
silence you forever.
That'd be tough. That'd be a good one.
Omega Ratsu says, sorry, but feminism existed since the French Revolution, and Marx plagiarized Flora Tristan, and she got her cues from the French. Flora Tristan, 1843, workers of the world unite. Marx copied in 1848. Look, man, there is socialism that is not Marxist socialism, and I completely understand that the French Revolution was kind of really where socialism kind of started off. There were people that influenced Rousseau, but Rousseau kind of really made it popular with the whole like man is actually separated from his work, and we need to make men closer to what they were when they were not living in cities and stuff. So I understand what you're saying. Your point is well taken. You're completely right. But I do think that it makes sense to kind of attribute Marx when it comes to talking about communism. Most of your socialists nowadays are Marxists of some kind. So, but again, even modern socialism, modern communists, they're the gay race communists. They're more, influenced by Marcuse and Foucault and the postmodernist school. So, but again, like I said, I'm not hating on your comment. You're right. Cabbage Rolls says, communism is a lie. There's never been a political system in the world where people had more power than in the USA. Communism is worse than a monarchy. I agree, generally, Let's see. Saint Truther. Ian, I have made an NPC for a D&D campaign inspired by you using an AI tool called Quest Portal. He is a wood elf bard named Ian of the Crosslands. Take care and rock on, Ian. Love you, bro.
That is awesome,
There you go.
dude. Yeah, follow up. Let me know later how accurate it is. What is he like?
Poppins Patch Video says, seems like broken window theory. If you dress well, you ideally behave better and encourage others to do so. If you allow your environment to be trashy, more trashy behavior will be seen as acceptable. I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Like if you take pride in yourself, then other people will treat you that way. And that's also another thing is if you're out in public, and I understand, Brett, I know you're giving me
if
the
your
look.
airport is a tenement,
But if you're in public and you look put together and you look well dressed, you are going to you are going to have people respond to you differently than if you look unkempt and if you look like you're kind of a pile of dirty clothes.
Absolutely.
All right, well, it is 4 minutes of Ian. You want to do the
Let's do outro.
Yeah,
first,
okay,
and then
so-
we'll do Ian at the
Priya, do you have anything you want to shout out or anything where tell people where they can find you?
You can find me on pretty much all the social media apps. It's always my first name followed by 2 E's, Priyaee. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. And what you should do is check out Pop Culture Crisis. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific, YouTube or Rumble, and you can listen to it on Spotify and all audio platforms as well. Thanks, guys.
Ian Crossan. Oh, Carter, sorry.
No, this makes total sense that you would. For today, I'll just go first, and then I'll
I like it goes in a circle, and then Phil gets to go Phil and then Tim at the
Let me
end.
plug my crap.
So, yeah, I am Carter Banks. You can follow me everywhere at Carter Banks on Instagram. Except for Instagram, where someone's been sitting on my URL name, and there's a 4L at the end of it. And follow Trash House Records on YouTube at Trash House Records Phil.
I am Phil the Remains on Twix. You can check out my Patreon where I've been writing little op-ed pieces lately. That's patreon.com/Phil the Remains. The band is All That Remains. We're going on tour this spring. We're going out with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. You can go to All That Remains online to get VIP tickets. They're available. You can get tickets. Actually, you can get tickets at allthatremainsonline.com as well. You can check out the music on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Ian, sing us out, my man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Song's called High.
Fitting.
Yeah. I know music is alive, and you've been running through my mind. Your eyes are telling me it's right, and we got nothing left to hide. We can't go higher and higher, we're high. Yeah. The world is ours and we are light. Don't look back, we've crossed all lines. Yeah. We are free, we are divine. I say in this life, I know it's alright to go where we come and leave when we might. It's endless faith, just hang on tight and we both let go when the feeling's right. I won't pretend not to think it's the end when the music is playing. Now ain't it nice? We got love and we got each other. We got now and we got forever. Can go higher and higher, we're high. The world is ours and we are light. Don't look back, we've crossed all lines. Yeah, we are free, we are divine. I say in this life, I know it's alright to go where we come and leave when we sit, leave when we might. Let's fade, just hang on tight and we both let go when the feeling's right. I won't pretend not to think it's the end when the music is playing. Ain't it nice? We got love and we got each other. We got now and we got forever. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I love this song. We're going to the moon in a big balloon that floats upright. It's shaped like candy shells and Taco Bells and an octopus in flight. We'll catch the drift when calling. Whether we're falling is relative in sight. So I will grab a net or jump the fences, planetary life. I give you everything I can. I'm only a human. I give you up, I'm going down. Except it's not with a frown, it's with a bang-tastic explode of energy. Giving up ain't for free. I said enough ain't for free. Oh, in this life I know it's alright to go where we come and leave when we might. It's endless faith, just hang on tight, and we both let go when the feeling's right. I won't pretend not to think it's the end. When the music's playing, I ain't that nice. We got love and we got each other. We got now and we got river. Whoa, well. And I said, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, oh, whoa, yeah, whoa, whoa.
Yeah!
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys on Monday.